It was an ordinary day. He saw himself standing in the middle of the street. He came out of nowhere and didn't know where he was. A bus passed by, showing him his reflection. The unknown person did not know where he was or who he was. His clothes looked like military ones. He didn't even remember his name and didn't know what he had been doing before. But there was also the fact that he knew he had power. He hit the tree. Just one blow knocked him down and destroyed him. The unknown person reacted reflexively to the sound that came from his ears. Now he heard a voice. An artificial intelligence combat support system is implanted into his body. It is he who speaks to him. He is a military and combat support artificial intelligence developed in 2082. It turns out that the unknown person arrived from the future. A memory reset has been detected. The traffic light went out. The driver presses the brake. Warning, danger of accident detected. The car crashed into the fence, causing a rod to fly out. A dangerous object is approaching. The unknown person evades. Someone shouts that an iron rod has been stuck into that man's stomach. A wounded person was found. Just now, there was something red and blue in the eyes of the unknown person. This image projected onto his visual organs is a feature of the augmented reality lens. Thanks to him, the unknown person was able to easily escape danger. But an innocent civilian can die within 5 minutes. It is impossible to send him to the hospital in this time. The AI suggests conducting an urgent field operation. The unknown can't do this, but the AI can. First, you need to check the condition of the victim. The stranger has many questions for the AI, but first he needs to save this man. He has a deep wound. The operation will be complicated. They will need a needle, thread, a small knife, and disinfectant. The unknown person repeats what tools are needed. They ask him how they can help. We need to get a needle, thread, a small knife, and disinfectant as soon as possible. Passers-by found the necessary tools. This man may be a doctor, but he doesn't look like a doctor. If surgery is performed under such conditions, infection may occur. The unknown person whispers to the AI what to do next. If he gives it temporary control, the AI will be able to control his body. There is no time to clarify. Every second counts. Temporary control unlocked. The hand moves by itself. The unknown person pulled out a rod. The fingers move incredibly easily and very quickly. At this rate, he can definitely save this man. Warning: the lower limit of acceptable blood loss has been reached. The probability of survival is decreasing. The unknown person asks if the AI is sure that it can save the wounded man. The AI remains silent. The hand stopped. Blood splatters. Now everything is really bad. The patient has suffered significant blood loss and urgent surgery is needed. The operation was successful apparently. The wound was not too deep. If the bleeding had not been stopped, the patient would have certainly died in the ambulance. For some reason, the surgeon looks dissatisfied. They stitched it up with regular sewing thread, and there was something that left the surgeon even more shocked. The spacing and shape of the stitches were so similar, it looked like they had been sewn by a sewing machine. The surgeon wouldn't have believed it either if he hadn't seen it with his own eyes. Someone greets the doctors. This is the detective in charge of the case. He asks what the patient's condition is. It stabilized, and he was actually operated on outside. The man who stitched up the wound begged passers-by for something like a scalpel and performed the operation using an ordinary painting knife. Human flesh cannot be cut with a painting knife, but the testimony of all the witnesses was the same. This man also used a regular sewing needle, having first bent it. He left before the ambulance arrived. The AI suddenly stopped. The unknown person thought that it had decided to surrender, but it was simply analyzing the further course of the operation. Most likely, the AI doesn't remember anything due to a memory reset. He has no established name. Then the unknown will give him a name. It is an artificial intelligence of military and combat support, or, in other words, UMLIS, a united military logical and intellectual system. From now on, his name is Umlis. He remains silent again, sets a name for himself, and if the stranger wants to change it, he can tell him. He can call him a black fire dragon. This time, the AI did not delay with the answer. He really likes the name Umlis. The unknown person has an emblem on his hand that says Earth Alliance. Perhaps he's a special forces agent who has lost his memory. But another question arises. Why are they in 2024? Umlis does not have enough information, so he cannot say anything about this. He could collect information from the internet, but there is a risk of hacking and limitations in the input and output of information. It comes only through the 5 senses of the unknown. Umlis will use his body and voice to output information, but to do this, he must obtain permission for temporary control. It helps determine the necessary actions on the battlefield, but there are actions that it cannot perform on its own. For example, it can aim, but cannot shoot and attack. To find out the reason why they ended up here, you need to personally collect information. It turns out that this is the first task of the unknown. If he goes there, he will be able to get a lot of information. This is the most sensible solution, but to go there, you need money. Now the unknown person doesn't have a penny. You can sing songs on the street, and Umlis will control his vocal cords. An unknown person takes a spoon, pretending to be a microphone. The ability to sing is necessary to raise the morale of comrades on the battlefield. Let's say that's true, but for some reason they sing here. It's unlikely that he, an unknown person, will be able to outsing these weirdos opposite. A rock band is performing on an open stage nearby. If the stranger shows decent singing skills, it will attract attention. But he fears that it will attract him for a completely different reason. He understands, of course, that Umlis is an excellent artificial intelligence, but there is no need to overdo it. The unknown person came to another place. He started singing. You can do without unnecessary movements, but they need to attract attention. They say there is someone singing there without an instrument, equipment, or even a microphone. He manages to hit the notes so perfectly, he is a man, but he hits high feminine notes. For some reason, he sings from the middle of the song. He heard these songs on the street on the way here, so he doesn't know the beginning and the end. They received minimal compensation. Now it's time to leave. The unknown person is asked to sing again. The internet cafe worker listened to him from outside the window. She liked it. I would like to listen a little more. If they go to an internet cafe, they might be able to get information regarding the Earth Alliance and their goal, but it's possible that they won't be able to find out anything. Then, first of all, you will need to integrate into society and adapt, and you will need to find a way to contact headquarters. An unknown person approaches an internet cafe. There's a job posting on the door asking for documents and a resume, with preference given to candidates with experience. An unknown person has found a way to infiltrate society. It says here that workers are fed for free. If he gets a job here, he will solve the problem of collecting information and food. If he gets hired, he should ask if they have a place to stay overnight. As soon as he provides himself with housing, the problem with food and clothing will immediately be resolved. The unknown's current clothing has the ability to change camouflage thanks to the nature of a special photochromic fiber with shape memory. His clothing can be transformed. It is assembled from different modules, which can be disassembled into several parts, and then modified and reassembled. The unknown will try. Now he is wearing different clothes. This was the one on the singers they saw in that park. Someone is climbing the stairs towards the unknown. He noticed that they had turned pale. Perhaps it was because they saw his clothes. He tries again. Perfect. Wearing a headdress was an excellent decision considering he was an agent. An unknown person enters an internet cafe. Automatic room analysis is enabled. 96% of users are engaged in gaming. Internal amenities and payment methods are checked. The quality of food is checked. A place that can be used as temporary housing is being checked. Analysis shows that under current circumstances, this is the best place to live. So, an unknown person wants to get a part-time job, but hasn't brought either a resume or documents. He can write his resume here and bring his ID tomorrow. He is the owner of this internet cafe, but he cannot run his business because there are not enough workers. He hopes that this guy didn't come here to mess around and get paid for it. Nice guy, but I don't think he can even cook ramen. They sell food here, so he should at least know how to cook in a frying pan. Umlis has the field cooking skill. The stranger says he knows how to use a frying pan, so the owner tells him to make fried rice. He enters the kitchen. Products that can be used as an ingredient for fried rice are marked. Umlis activates the field cooking skill. He requests temporary control. The unknown person gives permission. He opens the refrigerator. The body moves so easily, as if it remembers something. The owner of the internet cafe enters. He thought the guy would get some packaged rice and heat it up in the microwave. But he seriously decided to make fried rice. And so fast too. Unknown finished. Speed is good, but taste is more important. He cooked this dish so quickly, the rice probably didn't have time to fry completely. The owner tastes the dish. It probably doesn't taste good. A bottle of soju wouldn't hurt. He thought he was in a very tasty eatery and was tempted to drink soju. This is the owner's niece, Annie. She also works here part-time. After all, it was he who sang on the street recently. With such incredible talent, he wants to get a job at an internet cafe. He is good at everything, singing and other things. The owner is very happy that he now has a worker who knows how to cook. Well, Annie doesn't know how to cook at all, She either spills something or burns it. The owner asks what time he would like to work. The unknown person would like to work part-time at certain hours, but so that they are not fixed. He noticed that they had a warehouse and he would like to live there for a while. He sets a lot of conditions, but it's a shame to waste such talent. The internet cafe in the neighboring building is popular because of its delicious food. The owner didn't even know what to do to avoid losing out to the competition. He will allow the unknown person to sleep in the warehouse and provide lunch and dinner. He will also pay him double, but only if the food sells better. Customers come in, the girl wants to eat first, the guy says there is food here too. She's disgusting in the internet cafe. Let him try it first and then say whether it's tasty or not. Unknown is cooking again. He asks for a plate. It's already ready and so well designed. They have such a self-confident employee, as if the food in an internet cafe is delicious. Apparently they are very desperate. Their fried rice is already ready. They haven't even had time to log into the game. They ordered regular fried rice. This is what they ordered. Let them try it quickly. They are trying. This is the food of the gods. It's unbelievable that it's so delicious. They order 2 more servings. Looks delicious. They should order some too. 12 customers ordered fried rice at the same time. The stranger asks Umlis if he can prepare 12 servings. He can. His field cooking skills have been perfected, taking into account the need to prepare a large number of portions. The unknown likes this skill. It will give Umlis temporary control, so let him prepare 15 servings. 3 hours later, the owner of the internet cafe asked his name. He is an honest man and will give him double pay for the week and let him continue in the same spirit. The owner asks his name again. That one is called Nick Stone. The owner cleaned up the warehouse. Annie scraped the remains of fried rice from the frying pan and fainted from the divine taste. The unknown person himself did not understand how he named this name, for now he will be Nick Stone. He found housing and provided himself with food. But to get paid, you need to provide the owner with identification. Perhaps Umlis will be able to hack the network. It can. Its system has information about hacker schemes built into it, starting from the year 2000. Then, perhaps, he will be able to hack into the bank's system, but his hacking skills are only related to loyal penetration. Nick asks if Umlis can fake an identity. You just need to give him temporary control over his hands. Umlis has completed the hack into the Korean government's administrative network. Nick needs to open his eyes properly to be able to see the information. An unknown problem has arisen. Nick Stone's personal data has already been registered. Their fingerprints are identical, a 100% match. But he is a Special Forces agent of the Earth Alliance, who arrived from the year 2082. Perhaps the Earth Alliance already existed in 2024. There was no Earth Alliance this year. This means that Nick exists in 2 years at the same time. There is not enough information to give a precise answer. We need to find out more about him. Maybe he will find an important clue. Name Nick Stone. Served in the Military Administrative Specialization Unit. No history of card use in the last 2 years. No activity on social media. He is believed to be currently unemployed. Annie is approaching. Nick types quickly. It is impolite to look at someone else's monitor. Uncle gave Annie his card so she and Nick could go shopping. Nick bought the items very quickly. He took everything that Umlis said, and it took no more than 5 minutes. They bought a heavy frying pan, and there are a lot of products in the bags. But Nick holds them with such ease. He has iron muscles. It's a pity they came back so quickly. You could sit in a coffee shop. It doesn't matter that Annie pays with the owner's card. He is her uncle after all. She accidentally pushes a passerby. If she has eyes for beauty, they can get rid of them, since she doesn't use them for their intended purpose. Hostile object detected. It is suggested to switch to combat mode. Annie apologizes. She will be careful next time. The guy scared the poor girl. He lost and is in a bad mood now. Everything is fine. The object is being removed. The situation has stabilized. Annie was so scared that she couldn't hold back her tears. They have problems. The internet suddenly went down and there's a huge commotion here now. Umlis had recently used the government network, which could have led to them being tracked. They are not able to do this thanks to the security system of 2020, but it still needs to be checked. Nick asks where the server is located. He wants to try to figure it out. Umlis found no evidence of an attempt to track them down, but he did detect an attempt to break in. But this is an ordinary internet cafe. A hacker program was installed to hack personal information. It was activated at the same time as the security system, which is why the internet was lost. There is a possibility that this internet cafe server was used as a test. We need to find out who this hacker is. Umlis begins tracking. The location was discovered. The hacker used 7 servers as a stone bridge to avoid surveillance. 6 of these servers are located abroad, and the last one is somewhere nearby. Apparently, he chose an internet cafe nearby, and distance plays a role. It could have been those bandits. The client complains that he was in a league promotion battle and the internet went down. The customers are really angry. You can serve them food. It always helps to relax. Here's a list of the most popular snacks. He chose a snack made from cheap ingredients, an excellent choice. Nick apologizes for the inconvenience. The server has been stabilized and the internet will no longer be disconnected. If the food is tasteless, they will suffer greatly. The client starts eating. It's so delicious that he's full of energy again to win the Silver League. It's amazing how delicious it is that the customer immediately warmed up. A little spicy but sweet at the same time. Nick needs to step aside to deal with the internet issue and let Annie distribute this to all the dissatisfied customers. If there is a hero in their time, then he probably looks exactly like this. They need to get rid of the enemy who attacked their home. Navigation mode activated. There are no CCTV cameras, security, or any tactical equipment around. Apparently, he tried to hide as best he could. Nick enters the building. He hears some sound. Umlis strengthens it. They paid him good money. He should try hard, and then they will send him home. And if he doesn't understand, they will explain it with their fists. Based on the analysis of what was heard, it is assumed that a civilian is being threatened. Nick thinks so too. We need to help him. Instead of crying, it would be better to get down to business. Nick knocks down the door. The hacker thinks it's a gang member. Nick attacks. The hacker's name is Sam Do-hwan, a first-year student at Hankook University. He was interested in hacking activities since childhood. Many experienced workers come to him with their questions, and he has become a talented white hat hacker. Sam was looking for a part-time job to pay off his student loans and received a job offer. Sam was pleased that he was able to find a job in which he felt confident. But it turned out that it was a letter from scammers. He mentally prepared himself for death, but suddenly a hero appeared. He hit that bandit thoughtlessly, but the enemies interfering with the mission must be eliminated. Nick didn't think his arms were that strong. The enemies ahead have weapons. But Nick is a special forces agent, and he has a trained body, and Umlis will also support him. As Nick passed by, he heard someone being beaten and couldn't stay away. Those ugly octopuses attacked one person in a crowd. Nick provoked them once again, and their hostility increased. The bandit takes out a knife. Nick can beat them, so he decided to attack them psychologically. He attacks another bandit. He hit his head on the ceiling. The remaining bandit also takes out a knife. Nick deflects his blow. He dealt with all the bandits. He had just delivered blows with a force 5 times greater than what normal humans could withstand. His muscle strength began to increase. Perhaps it was steroids. Umlis says that such ineffective and harmful drugs were not used. This man is talking to himself. Or maybe he's a cop talking through a headset. Or he's a government agent sent to catch the hacker. In elementary school, Sam hacked an adult website for money, and in middle school, he hacked a bully's Instagram account. He only did what these people told him to do. They told him to check the security system. There's a 90% chance he's telling the truth. He's probably a white hat hacker. Umlis has the skill of analyzing facial expressions and behavior. The stronger the fear, the more the veracity of the testimony increases. If 90% of a hacker's words are true, then 10% are lies. Sam was told he had to check the security system, but that was a lie. He's been held here for 4 days now. These bastards are real villains. He completed the task, and they still continued to force him to do bad things. They wanted to manipulate stock prices, but they looked too stupid to do something like that. Sam was asked to create a program that could manipulate comments on a stock website, so they went to a nearby internet cafe to install the program. That was then. Most likely, there is someone else behind them, and they are just pawns. They didn't try to attack Nick's temporary home, so you can relax, but letting them go is not an option either. And besides, you need to deal with those who sent them. Sam should call the police and report that he has been kidnapped. He fears that Nick will be punished. He was just passing by and heard someone being beaten, and when he saw Sam, he decided to help. It's time for him to go. Sam wants to give those thugs a couple of whacks, and Nick will stand nearby just in case they wake up. Even if they wake up, they won't be able to do anything to Sam. He swings his fist. The bandit he hit woke up. Sam is horrified. The police arrive. Sam is asked what happened. These bastards kept him here for 4 days. They forced him to create a program to manipulate the stock website, and if he resisted, they beat him and threatened to kill him. It wasn't him who beat them up. A man passing by heard the screams and decided to help. It is unlikely that only these three are involved here. They clearly have a leader. As soon as they wake up, they need to be interrogated. The victim says he was helped by a man passing by. The bandits have a couple of broken bones, but they won't die from this, and besides, they were the first to take out their knives. We need to look through the CCTV footage and find the person who beat them up. There is a CCTV camera ahead. It is better to turn right. There were no cameras in that building. Umlis always checks everything thoroughly. That kid's gentle blow made this bandit jump up straight away. He has excellent reflexes. Umlis doesn't have a phone function, so I'll have to buy a phone. I don't have the money yet, so I'll have to pay in installments. 3 days passed after that incident. The day after rescuing the hacker, Nick went to the address listed on his registration card to get information about himself. But there was a completely empty valley. There were rumors that everything had burned down. Since there was nowhere to gather information, Nick returned with nothing. Business was going well at the internet cafe. Annie said the influencer made it famous for its delicious food. The special menu was sold only during Nick's shift. There were customers who came only to eat, and some sat at the computer since it was an internet cafe. The owner, Dan Sayok, decided to hire another employee as the number of customers increased significantly. He introduced the new guy. It was the same civilian that Nick had saved 3 days ago. He studies computer engineering and is good at working with computers. Now Dan has 2 reliable workers. The real reason Sam decided to come here was because he felt guilty about the internet cafe losing money. He will give it his all. It's their chef, Nick Stone, who made their internet cafe popular. He works in the kitchen, but is also very good at using the computer. Nick thinks Sam recognized him, but he only noticed that he was older than him. Working with this person could lead to Nick's identity being exposed. Umlis recommends telling the owner to fire this person. Nick couldn't bring himself to say such a thing. Umlis double-checks the list of today's purchases. Everything is bought. The receipts are also in the bag. Nick feels like Umlis is becoming more and more mercantile. Financial literacy is the foundation of everything. Umlis also considers not only the cost of food, but also its health benefits. It would be problematic if Nick were to suffer food poisoning and his physical condition deteriorated. Umlis's system seems to have bugs sometimes. Nick doesn't mind him monitoring his finances and health, but sometimes you just have to enjoy your food. Warning, fire hazard detected. Nick doesn't see anything unusual. Umlis probably has nothing to say in response, so he comes up with all sorts of things to distract him. A fire breaks out in one of the buildings. Nick's body has been implanted with a combat support artificial intelligence. Augmented reality is built into the eyes. There is an auxiliary module in his ears. In addition, all the muscles in his body were honed to perfection. And he can definitely put out a fire of this level in one go. Nick turns on the fire extinguishing beam. More precisely, he imagines that he turned it on. He thought he had the ability to freeze. The best solution at the moment is to call the fire department. Here a scream is heard. The girl was stuck on the roof of a burning building. Given the current traffic situation, it will take more than 4 minutes for emergency services to arrive. However, within 4 minutes, the fire will engulf the roof. Nick asks Umlis to plot a route to get to her. There are no accessible passages in the building. Umlis can suggest a climbing route to avoid the toxic gas entering Nick's lungs. He starts to climb onto the roof. He's crazy. Apparently, he wants to save the girl. Umlis does not hear the sounds of other people moving in this building. Everyone evacuated before the exits were blocked. Explosive hazard detected ahead. Nick's muscles saved him. He climbed onto the roof. The girl raises her head. Nick offers her his hand. It's dangerous here. The fire is spreading faster than expected, and the chances of survival are decreasing. No need to shout, Nick thinks. Umlis said that he had a strong body and that he might be able to jump to the roof of the neighboring building together with the girl. There are too many witnesses here. If they see Nick's superhuman skills, it will arouse suspicion, and he will fail in his mission of adaptation and integration into society. But it's better than burning alive. Nick notices the clothesline. With its help, you can try to go down. The lower floors are engulfed in flames, making this method of movement difficult. It's crazy, but still, you need to throw a rope to the neighboring building and cross over to it like on a tightrope. Once Nick steps onto the rope, Umlis will help him maintain his balance. Once he throws the rope, Umlis will make the small adjustments needed to secure it. He can't throw the rope himself because it feels like an attack and is beyond his control. Nick must do it himself. He throws the rope. It worked. Nick takes the girl in his arms. You need to put something soft on the ground. They will definitely fall. The girl calls for help. No need to move, she's making Nick stagger. An unforeseen situation has arisen. The rope will not hold up, it is exposed to fire. At Nick's current speed, the rope will break before he gets there. Nick throws the girl onto the roof of a neighboring building. She lands safely. The rope broke. Nick grabs her. With the help of a rope, he balances and jumps. He manages to brace his feet against the building. He runs along the wall. Nick was able to jump onto the roof of a neighboring building. He thought he was going to die. The girl thinks she sees a ghost. Makes mistakes. Nick thought he could trust him. He didn't know that there were flammable materials on the outer walls of the building. The girl approaches Nick. She recognized him. He is a cook from an internet cafe. Firefighters and police arrived at the scene. The man was able to throw a rope onto a nearby building and walked across it, carrying another person in his arms. Nobody knows who it was. However, they have one clue. To save a person, he needed all his limbs, and if he had a bag in his hands, then of course he left it on the ground. There were various sauces inside. We also found the receipt, but it was very wet and it was impossible to make anything out. The name of the store is written here. You can get hold of the footage from the surveillance cameras, but this person hasn't committed anything criminal. And if the fire was caused by a short circuit or a gas fire, then it's none of their business. The captain is calling. The cause of the fire is not yet known, but the problem is different. There is a fatality on the 3rd floor. They thought no one was hurt. We need to find that tightrope walker. Nick actually saved the girl, and she asked him to pay for her bathhouse apparently. Her conscience burned in that building. Her house burned down, she has no parents, and she is completely alone. She doesn't even know where she will spend the night. She entered university with a student loan, so she wanted to get a part-time job and somehow survive. The internet cafe where Nick works is probably looking for workers. Let the girl negotiate with the owner. Nick is an ordinary worker. She recognized him because she often goes to this internet cafe. She is a beautiful online gaming streamer who doesn't have a computer, so she streams from an internet cafe. She plays badly and has 30 subscribers. She really needed a job. Nick felt sorry for her. He brings the girl to an internet cafe. Her name is Renee Lilly, and she will be working here. Nick went to look at the fire and lost the package. Most likely, someone has already taken it. Nothing can be done. Let them deduct it from Nick's salary. Analyzed the situation that happened an hour earlier. There is a high probability that many people filmed Nick on video. You need to go online and collect information. Found a video from the scene. Judging by the reaction, it's spreading quickly, but will be able to remove the entire video from the internet. He doesn't have such skills. He's a combat support AI. But he hacked the government network. It has features designed to manipulate personal data and military hacking skills. But due to the lack of a hacker attack, it will not be able to demonstrate its skill. The detective found Nick's place of work. Even today, they couldn't find any information about the Earth Alliance and the Special Forces Unit. Even if there are those connected to 2082, they are also hiding. Checked all the claims that mentioned arrivals from the future, but none of these posts were valid. Everywhere they write only about the year 2004. But with current technology, it is impossible to create artificial intelligence like Umli's. I wonder what happened to that building that burned down yesterday. The body of the deceased was discovered. He was in the room that Nick had passed by yesterday on his way upstairs. Doesn't have infrared vision skill. While moving, he failed to detect movement or hear the sounds of living people. This means that this man was dead before the fire. Perhaps this was not an accidental fire, but an intentional arson. Judging by the conversation outside, a policeman came to the internet cafe. He brought a package. Annie calls Nick. The policeman brought back the bag of sauces that Nick had lost while watching the fire. The police in their country are amazing. Annie never thought that they would find the owners of lost things. This is a detective's business card. If Nick has any information about this incident, he can call this number. To find the killer, we need the help of a detective. Annie asks if he has anything to do today. She wants to spend time with him and get closer. Connections with the police could be useful, so that's what he'll do. He has things to do. He will be back soon. Nick is so unpredictable. He comes to the police station. He feels like yesterday's fire was part of a murder. The detective asks if he has any basis for this statement. As Nick climbed the wall of the building, he neither saw nor heard anything from inside. It turns out that he is that very tightrope walker. He climbed up so easily like Spider-Man and even held the girl in his arms, then ran along the wall like a super spy. The detective asks Nick why he thinks the fire was part of a crime. During the fire, no one called for help from inside the building. The victim either died during the fire or was drunk or on medication. So, someone set fire to the building to cover up the traces of the murder. Nick went up, checking each floor. The detective hasn't received the results of the forensic examination yet. The autopsy takes time, but he's been warned that they might not be able to find out anything because the fire was so intense. It was reported that there was a high probability that the fire was caused by a short circuit, as there were no CCTV cameras in the area. Umlis remembers the faces of the people Nick saw yesterday. He saved the data obtained before the fire started. Nick saw 3 people walking from the direction of this building. The first one came out of the alley. He was talking on the phone. There was a bracelet on his left wrist and a checkered shirt. Nick describes it as if he can see everything now. He actually sees it now. Nick describes the second and third person. The detective asks for help in making a composite sketch of these people. The person responsible for creating the sketches is not currently on site, but Nick can draw them himself. He can draw a little. He asks if Umlis can bring the suspects into his line of sight. Nick asks to enlarge and improve the quality a little. He's talking to himself. Maybe he's a little crazy. Nick finished. It didn't turn out quite as I would have liked. Nick crumples the sheet of paper. He just stretched his arms. He must give Umlis temporary control, only then will he be able to draw. We need to call an expert so that he can hurry up. Only these 3 were coming from the direction of the burnt building most likely. The arsonist was one of them. We need to start checking their identities immediately. This soup is very tasty, simply fantastic. Annie heard that the building where Renee lived was set on fire. Sam also saw the news that the suspect was detained. Illegal substances were found in his pockets. Nick was only at the police station yesterday, and they already found the culprit. The detective calls. Thanks to Nick, they were able to find the criminal. 2 of them were residents of that area, but the third did not live there, and moreover, he was a friend of the deceased. They found illegal substances in this scumbag's wallet. Most likely, he went to borrow money for them from a friend, but he refused, and so he killed him. They immediately went to where this guy bought the illegal substances and caught them in the act. Among them was actor Nigel Gosson, which is why there is now a lot of confusion. Apparently, this is not an easy matter. But thanks to the sketches that Nick drew, they were able to solve it much faster, and I would like to publish them. Just don't tell me who drew them. Nick just did what he had to do. Someone starts screaming. A client spilled ramen and got burned. Someone spilled the ramen again, giving Renee a job. She will clean up and ask the owner to give her a bonus. Renee accidentally pushes a client. He injured his wrist. It looks like he has a fracture. Nick asks Umlis if this man really broke his arm. There is a possibility that a crack has appeared on the bone to check. You need to palpate your hand and look at the reaction. Nick would like to look at the client's hand. Umlis checked the condition of the muscles, ligaments, and joints. The bone was not damaged, but the wrist was dislocated. The bone is fine, but there is a dislocation. Nick will help. He also knows how to do massage. Annie also wants to hurt herself. You can't use this arm until tomorrow, otherwise the recovery will be long. Tomorrow the client has to cook in the Gangwon area. He cooks in a van. The film company is doing additional filming, so they urgently invited him to be a cook. Renee can go with him and help. She knows how to cook ramen. The chef can't feed them with just ramen. He needs a person who can cook. His look says only one thing, just tell me what I want to hear. Nick refuses. He has a part-time job. The cook will pay him 300,000 won for 1 day. Looks like I need to make some rice and salads. The chef came to this internet cafe after learning that it was popular for its delicious food, and after trying it, he comes here almost every day. He hoped he could learn something about Nick's cooking, but if he kept him company, the chef would surely be able to learn something from him. Nick has learned enough about this place. It's time to explore other places. Working in a food truck, he will be able to earn money and also find new information. He drives very well. The cook didn't know that his car could be so obedient. He hopes they can surprise the actors and staff with delicious food. Nick may have heard that an actor was arrested at a party with illegal substances in his hands. They are just on their way to where he was filming. There was only a week left until the premiere. The film, of course, won't be released, so reshoots were urgently scheduled. The cook is doing well. He got a good job, but they are in total disarray. They decided to reshoot all the scenes where that actor appeared. It would be possible to postpone the premiere date, but they said that this was impossible due to certain circumstances. The screening was planned in many large cinemas. The director's name is Michael Min. He is one of the country's top directors in the melodrama genre. He doesn't like anything. There is no time to shoot again, so I will have to agree to this horror. The food truck has arrived. We need to eat and calm down. To hell with the food truck. If the movie flops, they're bankrupt. However, Michael Min did try the food. A minute ago, he didn't even have an appetite. The food truck owner injured his hand, so another chef is helping him. They have problems. During the stunt double-tripped and sprained his ankle. We need to call an ambulance, but they are in the mountains. They were definitely jinxed. Maybe Nick can help this man. Ankle immobilization will relieve pain and speed up recovery. Nick will examine the stunt double's leg. He will only provide first aid, then he should be sent to the hospital. Nick thinks the girl is from the staff. He asks her to bring compression bandages. Michael urges her on. Cheryl is not a staff member. She is an actress, albeit a supporting one. She brings bandages. The victim has a severe sprain, but it is not a dislocation. The pain has subsided and he can move with ease. However, further filming is contraindicated. The understudy is not allowed to walk until he is fully recovered. They will contact another understudy. He won't have time to come here and learn all the moves. The leading actor can perform his own stunts. But he is so clumsy that a single sprained ankle won't be enough. You can take one of the staff and put a mask and glasses on them so that their face is not visible. Michael will pay 3 times as much. Just let them find him a skilled understudy. This is a joke, of course, but Nick can help them. This is unacceptable. He is an ordinary cook from a van. If you look closely, he has the same build as the lead actor. They really don't have much time. If Nick moves awkwardly, Michael will try to fix it with CGI. This movie is definitely over. In this scene, the main character saves the supporting character. While the equipment is being installed, Michael will go have a smoke. If you do everything exactly as written, it will look unnatural. Umlis has a knack for filming training videos for new recruits. They have to really attack Nick. Let them attack him like a real enemy and he will try to defend himself. It will be more realistic. He can't know anything about filming. They want to film everything in one take. This will help them save time. My experience as a director suggests that Nick can be completely trusted. Filming begins. Let her scream, no one will hear her anyway. Nick appears. He said to hit him for real, but it's dangerous. Umlis will show the trajectory of their movements. Nick dodges the blows. His body reacts to Umlis's prompts. He must grab the enemy at the designated place so that the camera can capture this moment. Nick grabs the actor. He throws it up. He's gone crazy, this must be pretend. Nick attacks another actor. This wasn't in the script either. The third actor rushes to the attack. Nick dodges again. He hits the actor, then he grabs the stick and hits him again. He is a real psychopath. Now Nick approaches the heroine. He came to save her. Removed. Michael's despair made him lose his ability to think clearly. The actors never felt pain from Nick's blows. He wasn't asked to actually hit them. They are fine. It's like falling while sliding sideways, like when skiing. Nick didn't hit the actor, but pushed him and even supported him when he fell. Through the camera, it looked like they were actually being spanked. Michael didn't even doubt Nick. Everything was filmed very well. This is not due to the cameraman. Nick calculated the camera positions in advance and moved with maximum precision. Nick was incredible, and he will make sure their film is on par with Hollywood films. He has incredible acting talent. If the script had called for Cheryl to be beaten up, he would probably have seen her as a punching bag. There is a strange sound coming from that wall. The cause has been discovered. In a few seconds, a structure will fall from the ceiling. 5 seconds until collapse. Nick grabs the lead actor. He throws it far back. Then he grabs Cheryl. 1 second left. The structure is collapsing. Cheryl is very noisy. Warning, large structure falling. Nick is still holding Cheryl. She starts calling for help. Apparently, she was very scared. The set collapsed and Nick saved Cheryl. The design was unreliable. So Nick saved Cheryl and Kim. He's glad she finally realized it, and now let her get off him. It looked like Nick had pushed Kim hard, but he didn't feel any pain anywhere. Everything is great, Nick saved them. And he is not a bad person. If the actors had died, it would have been the end not only of the film, but also of the director's career. Nick is a real hero. The moment the structure fell was captured on camera. Nick is seen saving Cheryl. Hollywood movies don't come close, but it all happened spontaneously. We must definitely use this footage. It will be a sensation. This is a recording of a real incident, so people can know that it was not scripted. But no one was hurt. If the situation escalates, you can hire a lawyer. Nick may ask not to show these records. First, Michael would like to thank him for saving Cheryl. Nick did what he had to. The moment of Cheryl's rescue was caught on camera. Michael would like to ask permission to use these recordings. They'll even put his name in the credits and pay him even more. Nick agrees. Cheryl notices that his shirt is torn. He's fine. She doesn't have to worry. It's unthinkable. He saved her and Kim when debris from the structure was falling on them, but remained unharmed. Cheryl thanks him. Nick says that he couldn't help but save her only because she was on staff. He was joking. Once he's finished, he'll go back to the van. Nick works in an internet cafe, but he will come again. Michael will ask him to come. With his help, they will get the award for the best action movie. But the genre of their film is comedy melodrama. It doesn't matter. If they remove all the scenes where this drug addict appears and replace them with action, then all the problems will be solved. Then you need to hire a martial arts master. They all saw Nick doing tricks, and his muscular body is much better than Kim's. But he came to replace the head chef because he injured his hand. Michael will solve this problem. The structure seemed secure, but it began to collapse during filming, right where the actors were standing. There is a high probability of deliberate damage to the structure. A lot of the debris fell on Cheryl. If the attacker had a script, it wouldn't have been difficult for him to figure out where she would be. Someone either wanted to harm her or prevent the release of the film. Michael asks for attention. He begs to save his film. Nick has important business in Seoul, so it will be problematic for him to come here. Starting tomorrow, all additional filming will take place in Seoul. Nick will only need a little time, and then he can leave right away. He doesn't have to worry about payment. The company is currently unable to think about how to save money. After Nick's arrival, Michael pulled himself together and began working at an accelerated pace. Another scenario was devised, much better than the original one. The head of the THO entertainment department arrived. Michael must save them. If we release the film in its original version, there will be huge hate from the audience, but they cannot move the release date. Michael will solve all problems. The film will have a different genre from now on. It will not only be a comedy melodrama, but also an action film. Michael is filming now and has no time for arguments. He will tell you everything after lunch. Some scoundrel slams the door and raises dust. It's already hard to breathe here. This is the director of THO Entertainment. He didn't want to come here, but he can't sit in his office while the set structure collapses. The manager must anticipate such moments and prevent them in advance. And his only excuse is that drug addict. The director's daughter comes in. She heard him arguing with someone. He wasn't swearing. It was just that the voices echoed here. The director needs a precise answer as to whether the filming and editing will be completed within a week. The film will definitely turn out much better than planned. The director hopes that Michael will live up to his reputation as the best director in the country. There's this guy named Nick Stone who has this incredible talent for martial arts, and with his help, they can definitely save the movie. He's in that van. So this cook preparing a huge portion of fried rice is a martial artist. He works in a food truck. They were already on a tight deadline, and Michael decided to hire an amateur to pocket part of the budget. Apparently, he wants to get at least something because the film can't be saved anyway. The director orders that all the paperwork with the filming expenses be completed and shown to him. There seems to have been a misunderstanding. This snack is called Mixie. Nick did a lot to give to the workers so that Molly could eat her fill. She can't eat a lot. Her mother said that she would gain weight and forbade her to eat sweets. Nika feels like she needs to gain a little weight, but she's the main character in this film and she has to take care of herself. She's playing the role of the main character as a child. Filming will be in Seoul tomorrow, so there won't be a food truck anymore. If Molly ever happens to be in the area around the internet cafe where Nick works, he might make her some more of these snacks. She asks to write down his number so that he can be found. The director knows very well that Michael is a real perfectionist, and he practically dances next to Nick. Since the assistant director insists so much, the director will take a look. He wonders when they managed to add computer graphics and rehearse all these movements. These videos are so pristine that no graphics program has ever touched them. Nick moved on his own, calculating the angle of each camera. The director shouldn't have yelled at Michael like that. He approaches Nick to thank him. Nick offers him a snack. He is Terry Lee, the CEO of THO Entertainment and the sponsor of this film. He came to thank Nick for saving their project. It's something like crackers. Terry ate crackers when he was in the army, and the associations are not the most pleasant. But he will eat a couple of them so that Nick will not be offended. They are salty, sweet, and spicy at the same time. Terry's daughter loves these delicious treats and has been here before and tried them. Terry calls her. Molly is nowhere to be seen. Terry asks where she went. Nick resorts to Umlis's help. Molly is nowhere to be found in Nick's sight. She might be in the building. Then Molly calls Nick. They exchange numbers so she could come back for more snacks. Nick picks up the phone. He hears a crash. Terry wonders what's wrong with his face. Nick moves away. He asks Umlis what the chances are that Molly dropped the phone. The probability is low. The sound was completely different. Nick asks to analyze it. The sound came from plastic covered with a steel plate and sounded in a confined space. They kidnapped Molly and he let her call someone. He quickly took the phone away and broke it, so everything will be fine. Molly called some mixy guy, and if she was hungry, he would buy her some food. We need to get out of here before anyone notices. Molly called Nick and he was silent. Terry starts to worry. A child's purse and a glass containing treats were found. The crumbs lead to that car. Nick starts running. Terry finds Molly's purse. The bandit behind the wheel notices someone running towards them. We need to step on the gas. The car takes off. It's definitely an enemy, and they've noticed Nick. He's already realized it. This sign can be used to stop a vehicle. Nick pulls the sign out of the ground. He rushes after the car. Some crazy guy, it's impossible to catch up with the car while running. But just in case, you need to push it to the fullest. This guy disappeared from sight. Apparently, he got tired and collapsed. Nick approaches the car through the air. He jumps onto the roof. It brakes when hit with a pole. The driver steps on the gas, trying to shake Nick off the car. There needs to be a way to stop her. If this spot is punctured, the engine will lose power. Nick hits the mark. Now it's standing on the hood. It's not holding on to anything. You have to step on the gas and get rid of it. Nika is blown off the car. This is what happens to show-offs. However, Nick lands unharmed. He managed to stop the enemy vehicle. We need to knock him down and get out of here quickly. The car won't start. Looks like that bastard had this plan from the start. We need to get out quickly and finish him off. The leader will look after the child. The bandit asks Nick who he is. He is a cook. Nick attacks. He is too fast, you can't even follow his movements. Nick attacks the second bandit. There's still one left. Nick will save Molly soon. He asks Umlis how he can catch this kidnapper. You can break the window and grab him, or lure him out of the car. The second option is better. To weaken the enemy's vigilance, you should move away further. Nick moved away, which means he won't attack him. We need to get out of here before the crowd comes. The bandit tells Nick to bring another car here and not to dare call the police. Otherwise, he will stab the girl. We need to give this bastard a car quickly. If he harms Molly, Terry will wipe out his entire family. The bandit tells him to bring the car himself. We need to quietly notify the police, but they are currently in the mountains. Dad will arrive soon. If you provide the enemy with transport, there is a high probability that he will escape with the hostage. Terry brought the car. Don't touch Molly. The bandit demands to move away from the car. He advances on Terry. He suddenly starts running. He wants to rush at the bandit and save Molly. If Terry comes near, he will rip her guts out. Blood splatters. But it's not Molly's blood. Nick hit the mark. He struck the enemy using a long-range throwing weapon. The police arrived in the evening. It looks like one of them has broken ribs, the other has a bruised jaw, and the one in the middle clearly has a head injury. We need to get them to the hospital quickly. There's no need for that. It's better to take care of Molly, who was almost kidnapped. And yet, to avoid some problems, you first need to treat them. The injuries are quite serious. Molly is worried that Nick will go to jail. Her dad saved her, so he will save him too. If he has a conscience, he should do it. Nick credited him with saving Molly. But in fact, it was he who saved her. Nick is a hero who saved Terry's daughter. He is not guilty of anything. They need proof that it was self-defense. There is evidence. They have recordings that are much better than what a CCTV camera would have captured. They filmed what happened a few minutes earlier. The faces of the kidnappers were clearly captured. These three were threatening the child and Nick. There are a lot of people here making movies, and as soon as something interesting starts, the first thing they do is arm themselves with cameras. Umlis deactivates the prison escape protocol. Even if the kidnappers die, there can be no talk of punishing Nick. And if they do try to blame him, Terry will show them what his company's experienced information department workers are capable of. It will be hard for them to cope with the hate that will be poured on them. Dinner is coming soon. Nick needs to get everything ready. He won't run away anywhere. He prepared this for Molly. Desserts on the battlefield are very effective in raising morale. Molly was very scared and may have no appetite. Or maybe there is. Terry wants to try it too. It's better than those incredible crackers. He wants to make this dessert at home for Molly, but the average person would never be able to replicate what Nick does. You need to be physically strong to mix ingredients quickly, and you also need to have a natural talent for calculating spices. Nick might be a pastry chef or a head chef at a restaurant. He just works part-time as a cook in an internet cafe. Molly's mother, actress Amanda Lee, and her manager appear. Their daughter was almost kidnapped, and Terry sits and fills his belly. Molly is fine. Terry can explain everything. There are too many eyes here. Amanda's manager will deal with Terry quietly, without any unnecessary witnesses. Amanda saw the video of Nick saving Molly. He jumped on the car and stopped it, confronted the kidnapper with a knife. He risked his life. It wasn't hard for him. He promised to prepare many more tasty treats and desserts for Molly. Amanda will go. Molly has school tomorrow. She needs to get some sleep. If it weren't for Nick, both Terry and his wife would be in desperate straits. Terry will treat him to some tasty food sometime. Nick will be glad. Cheryl noticed that he knew how to cook and swing his fists a little, and he also caught the kidnappers. He probably lied about working in an internet cafe. If this is true, let him show which one. Write down the address and telephone number. Nick kept in contact as Nick Stone. She didn't want to know his number at all. She just wanted to go to this internet cafe sometime. Nick understood this. Let her have his number. He doesn't know the landline number of the internet cafe. Besides, the more visitors, the more money. He probably thinks that Cheryl's heart will beat from such a look. She is, after all, an actress. She has high standards. Suddenly, Terry screams how this could have leaked onto the internet and who dared to do this. Someone uploaded a video of the moment his daughter was rescued to the internet. One of them must have done it. The head of the public relations department is calling. Molly is fine. They saw for themselves that she was saved. Terry demands that the video be deleted immediately. Its distribution is difficult to stop, as it is carried out via the internet, and the video has already been posted on foreign websites. Then we need to find whoever allowed this leak. If they confess who did it, Michael will spare their lives. Terry calls Amanda. The video of Molly's rescue has leaked and is now circulating all over the internet. But there's no need to worry. Terry will find whoever leaked it. Molly posted it. She saw the video and was delighted, said that Uncle Mixie looked like a movie character, and posted the video online. Molly said the country should know its heroes, so Amanda gave her permission. Michael is disappointed in all of them. He thought they could at least keep the crap going on here to themselves. It looks like a promotional video for a movie. It would be impossible to make something like this without computer graphics. We should watch this movie together when it comes out. By the way, this guy looks like Nick. The video quality is low, but his figure seems familiar. Although Nick has no reason to appear in a video like this. Sam wants to go see a movie with them. Meanwhile, Nick is busy filming. Apparently, he saved Cheryl's character again. It's time to change. Next comes Kim. The action scenes were flawless, but Cheryl's gaze changed noticeably at the end when she moved it from Nick to Kim. Michael must be tired after a sleepless night. Nick is free. The next action scene will be tomorrow. He asks what about the video of Molly's rescue. The video was splashed all over the place. Articles appeared about it. The revelation of the kidnapping story would have seriously damaged the film. But for better or worse, people mistook the video for a promotional video. Nick asks Terry how he feels. He himself understands how a father feels when a video of his daughter, who was almost kidnapped, spreads across the internet. But right now, this is the best course of action. With Nick's help, they finished filming 2 days ahead of schedule. After the script change, Cheryl's role almost reaches the status of a leading lady. Since things had turned out this way, Terry would like to buy Nick a drink. Cheryl and Kim did a great job and will go too, but the director is waiting for editing, so he will go another time. It seems that this is the same exquisite meal that they were promised yesterday. This place looks very expensive and the drinks look so appealing. Surprisingly, Umlee's has a wild side too. Kim should pour Nick a drink first. The first will be Cheryl. Nick saved not only Kim, but her too. Terry will pour him some. He always dreamed of becoming a director and even made several independent films, all of which ended up flopping. His father told him to join his company, but Terry didn't want to leave the industry, so he went into production. He achieved success because his wealthy parents helped him solve any financial issues. If the film had flopped, his film company would have been in danger. Terry's father's business consists of factories that produce primarily military and police equipment. His father gave Terry some of the shares, but they cannot be sold because the package completely provides for his father and brother. However, when Terry raised funds, he used his shares as collateral. And if the movie flops, he'll be forced to beg for help, but if his father finds out Terry used his shares, he'll take his golf club with him. Terry should never have touched his share. If it weren't for that drug addict, they would have attracted at least 5 million viewers. The tuna here is excellent. Umlee's internal data contains information about Terry's father's company. Keolin Engineering produces outdated combat equipment that is still in use in 2082, but the models produced this year were the last ones. Such a successful company has stopped producing new equipment, and they may go bankrupt this year. The drug incident, the collapse of the structure, and Molly's kidnapping are all definitely connected. Nick looks upset. He thinks about Terry's problem. If the film flops at the box office, his shares will be lost, which could jeopardize his father's rights to run the company. This will only happen if Terry is unable to return them. Nick doesn't think the situation is that simple. On the first day of filming, a structure collapsed, which doesn't look like an accident. Some of the debris is still being examined by the National Forensic Service. They will most likely say that intervention cannot be ruled out, but there is no hard evidence. A week ago, the leading actor was arrested during a party. While investigating the arson case, the police accidentally learned about the party and raided it. The killer who started the arson was not part of anyone's plans. Because of that party raid, the film had to be reshot in a week, but it couldn't have happened a week ago. Information about the drug-fueled party could have been released just before the first screening. Then their film would not have made it to cinemas, or it would have been pulled from screenings immediately after the premiere. If someone had set this all up, then Terry's father's company would also be in jeopardy. Even if it came to that, he would use all his connections. If Molly had been kidnapped back then, he would hardly have been able to concentrate on saving his assets. Then Cheolin Engineering shares could evaporate in the blink of an eye. Those people wanted to kidnap Molly so that Terry couldn't think straight, and that would make it easier to take over the shares. But his arrival at the filming that day was not planned. He would go there in case of a structure collapse. Whoever caused this collapse knew that Terry would arrive with Molly. They were intended more to set a precedent than to threaten Cheryl. These bastards claim they know nothing. Molly's father is a billionaire and he dotes on his daughter, so they decided that he would pay quickly if she was kidnapped. They only said that they overheard in some bar. They checked it, but there were no cameras there. This is a scenario in case the movie fails, so you can treat it as an interesting story. The first round ended a bit early. We can go somewhere else. Cheolin Engineering must be a powerful company. Otherwise, they wouldn't take such a risk. Cheryl asks if Nick has time to have a drink with her, when there are 3 of them. Terry dared to use their company's shares to produce films. This time, he is confident of the film's success. The mood is already lousy. And then there's Terry. They say someone is trying to create chaos in the company in order to disrupt foreign tenders. This could mean that one of these creatures is behind Molly's kidnapping. It's possible, but brokers looking to take over and resell their businesses are far more suspicious. This time, the film will not be a failure. Thanks to Nick Stone, they were able to not only get the filming done faster, but also prevent Molly from being kidnapped. And Terry came here today because he shared his suspicions with him. That is, in order to understand the situation, Terry needs an explanation from some actor. They can defend themselves against most attacks, but knowing the current situation, they will strengthen their defenses even more. If Terry touches his shares again, his father will disown him. He should hire that actor and give him a role with a lot of lines. But it seems Nick is no longer at the level where Terry could offer him a role. Nick invites Annie to the film premiere. She is not sure. There are a lot of things to do today. Although there are a lot of workers here, and in the evenings she is free, Sam and Renee also have a lot of free time. Several more people have joined them. And besides, everything is handled by an electronic cash register, and the robot vacuum cleaner does a better job of cleaning than Sam. The promo video they recently saw turned out to be a video for a movie that Nick was starring in. He was just a stunt double, but you still have to show him your loyalty. There are so many celebrities here. There are also stars who came to see the film. Kim noticed Nick. He waved at him and smiled. Sam thinks he was waving at the reporters. Cheryl noticed the nickname too. Sam received a wave from the goddess Cheryl Han herself. If they've seen enough, they can go inside. Annie is standing right next to Cheryl. They talk to the goddess. Annie's uncle owns an internet cafe. Nick works there. Annie and Cheryl lived in the same neighborhood as children, and Annie knows all of her embarrassing stories. In a place like this, they can't show that they know Nick. Nick communicates with Kim Rain as an equal, and Annie chats so easily with the goddess Cheryl Han. Maybe Sam should also go into acting. The expression on Renee's face cuts right to the heart. Molly appears. Thanks to communicating with Nick, she didn't have a minute to be sad. They reserved good seats for him. And Amanda Lee is here. It's like seeing a distinguished empress of a great dynasty. Renee speaks like a grandmother. Michael invites Nick to join in welcoming the cast members, but he's not even an actor. However, if it weren't for him, the film would not have been released. It begins. All the spectators gasped at once. There must be something very interesting there. The audience gives a standing ovation. And this is fun. 2 hours flew by like a fly in the wind. Michael thanks everyone for watching. He would like to confess something. In fact, the scene with the structure falling was a real incident. They simply used the footage from the cameras that captured the moment and included it in the film with the consent of all participants. Terry said public opinion might get worse, but their PR department would deal with that. The journalist asks if Cheryl received treatment after the incident. She is completely healthy and was rescued without any consequences. But it wasn't Kim who did this. Otherwise, he would have gone to his forefathers. The man from the food truck did this. Kim asks to cut this out of the article, as he is not a public person. Right now, their film is topping the charts. For Renee, Nick is like family, and everything her family does applies to her. Nick could become an actor, but one film is enough for him, and he has plenty of other things to worry about. Renee asks what else he does besides cooking at the internet cafe, a special mission for the Earth Alliance. They did it. Michael is confident that their film will get 10 million views. On the first day, the numbers were so bad that Terry almost cried, but now he is ready to cry with happiness. Michael is considering making his next film a noir action film. If they have Nick, Michael will immediately start working on the script. Terry offers to work on this blockbuster together. His company will provide generous funding. Michael is just about to discuss this with Nick, and since they're talking about it, they need to call him right now. Call from an unknown number. Nick drops the call. Now the film, A Day When It Was Sunny, is incredibly popular, and Kim is inundated with requests for interviews and invitations to appear in commercials. It is true that the structure actually fell, but the stunt double deflected all the debris that was flying at Cheryl. He threw Kim far to the side just before the collapse, but his flight was not very cinematic. And this stuntman isn't even a professional, just an ordinary guy from a food truck. He even jumped onto a moving car without any safety equipment. The presenter watched the film, but does not remember such a scene. He's not only an excellent stuntman, but also an unrivaled cook. A comment just appeared, someone asking if the clip of the car being stopped was a real incident. This is a live broadcast. Kim is a fucking idiot. They need to come up with a strategy now. It's likely that the truth will just have to be revealed 20 days earlier than planned. Terry calls Nick. This means that everything came to light earlier than expected, although it could have been reported on the very day of the incident. There's only one way to deal with this problem. They'll make people look at this video as an impressive feat. Now it's time to take a musical break and listen to a romance about a white eagle. Kim is very sorry. He is ready to do anything to help in any way except end his acting career. We need to tell them the truth. Kim must paint the incident in the most vivid colors. Let him just promote it as a performance, so that it doesn't look like anything serious, and there's no need to mention Nick's name. While everyone was busy working, the kidnappers tried to take away their young actress Molly Lee. Apparently, they decided to dump everything as is. The cook from the van was able to catch the criminals and save Molly. The amount of information about Nick on the internet is growing, but his identity has not been revealed. He would not have been able to take part in the Olympic Games because he would not have passed a doping test. I didn't really want to, and besides, it was time to leave the temporary base and establish a permanent one. It's unlikely they'll be able to afford it with their budget. The payment for his recent film role just arrived. 5 million won were transferred to his account. Renee thought it was Nick. Sam didn't think anyone else so outstanding existed. That guy was a great fighter too, but he couldn't beat Nick. Cheryl comes to the internet cafe. She asks if Nick Stone works here. She came to talk to him, and besides, she heard that the food here was delicious. Nick is in his room, he lives here. It seems he left home, so he eats and sleeps here. Annie wanted to invite him to stay with her, but she finds it a little awkward to live under the same roof with a man. Cheryl walks in on Nick. She came to apologize for what Kim blurted out back then. Cheryl had nothing to do with it, but she was still there too. Kim is probably getting a scolding from Amanda Lee right now, so Cheryl only came all this way to apologize. She heard that this internet cafe is famous for its food. Nick isn't cooking today because he needs to go somewhere. He will look for a place to live, but this nest doesn't shine with comfort. He has reasons for living here. He is so mysterious. Then Cheryl will go with him. It's always great when someone can help with the choice. Refrigerator, sink, air conditioner, everything you need is here. Nick got paid and he wants to rent this little room. He was paid 5 million. Cheryl calls Amanda. Just don't tell her she's asking for leniency for Kim. Nick Stone received only 5 million for filming. Looks like Amanda has someone else to deal with. While Cheryl waits for an answer, she can look at a better place to live. Cheryl's disguise makes her even more noticeable. Terry himself was shocked when he found out that Nick was only paid 5 million considering his work. This is unacceptable. So Terry recalculated everything as if he were an official stunt coordinator. He will transfer $100 million to him right now. The deposit is $5 million, so the price is quite favorable. Cheryl is one of those women who is helpful in any situation. Umlis had already taken care to ensure a clear line of sight, so they would now be able to spot potential enemies from afar. Cheryl asks what Nick plans to do with the remaining money. Umlis recommends buying a car. He needs a car. Cheryl knows a suitable place. Nick asks why she keeps trying to help him. She probably likes him. This is ridiculous. She is actually an actress. She just had a window in her schedule, and since it happened that way, she decided to drop in on him. Nick was just joking. Cheryl doesn't do this to hear things like this. By the way, if she had been crushed by debris that day, everything could have ended very badly. When she was left alone at home, realization began to dawn on her. She kept thinking about that moment. Since that day, she has been plunged into intense anxiety as soon as she turns off the light, and this incident continues to appear in her dreams. So Cheryl hoped that she would feel safe with Nick. It seems like he doesn't listen to her at all. They come to a used car lot. There are a lot of good cars here, and Nick chose this beat-up bucket on wheels. People always say that you should just scrap this car. Nick wants to look under the hood. He asks if Umlis can fix something like this. He has guides on how to repair vehicles after battles. He has repaired electrical and power systems before, so there shouldn't be any problems. Nick takes this car. The engine sounds like a wounded animal. It can stall on the road, and the seller is not responsible for this. Nick wants to make a deal. It would be better to do the repairs to the car in the parking lot near the new apartment. But this might arouse the suspicion of the neighbors, and then you will have to rent a suitable place. Umlis has already found a space that can be used as a base, a recently closed metallurgical plant. You just need to get the necessary parts and repair the car there. Cheryl asks why Nick brought that bucket to such a seedy place. He must have secretly signed up for a horror movie directed by Michael Mina, which is why he brought her here. Nick opens the doors. So he really is going to fix this car here. He learned it on YouTube. This is a metallurgical plant workshop. It was closed because the owner retired. So Nick decided to rent it for a year. Cheryl should go. She's been following him around all day. Actually, it was Nick who brought her here, then she leaves. They are in the middle of nowhere. There is no transport here. Then Cheryl will call the manager to pick her up. The reception is poor here. They are deep in the mountains. And at night, ghosts can come. In truth, Nick had planned this from the very beginning. He wants Cheryl to help him with the renovation. First, we need to sort this out in the order given. Nick is just making fun of Cheryl. He can do everything himself. Perhaps he should write down the order in which the parts are disassembled. He remembered everything. He has an amazing memory, and his hands move so quickly and precisely, like machines. Less than an hour had passed, but Nick was already finished. It's test drive time. Let Cheryl take the wheel. Everything is fine. Nick fixed everything. She can sit in the passenger seat. The car drives so smoothly and you can't hear the engine at all. Cheryl thought Nick was only good at martial arts and cooking, but he was also a repairman. The apartment they found will be a living space, and the workshop will be a production facility. Cheryl asks if Nick can help her install a smart lighting system that can be controlled from her phone. She can ask her parents about this. They live quite far away, and my brother has no hands. Cheryl is scared. She keeps dreaming about a falling structure. This often happens to soldiers who have been in combat zones. It could be post-traumatic stress disorder. Saving civilians is the primary goal of the Earth Alliance. Nick will help Cheryl. He comes to her house. Everything is ready. You can turn off the light and check. Cheryl turns off the light. Works. Nick wants to leave, but Cheryl stops him. She asks if he's hungry. She will cook him something incredibly delicious. She wanted to try his cooking, but she already owed him twice today, so she couldn't ask him to cook as well. She knows a very good restaurant, and the chef there is Sean Lane. He is shown on TV. Understanding the local holiday culture makes integration easier. This is a famous establishment. It's not easy to get a table here, but Cheryl made one. After all, she's a trendy and chic actress, Cheryl Hahn. She starred with the chef in various shows, and then she got his phone number. She called him and asked to reserve a table for two. Nick asks who she planned to come here with. She was planning to eat at an internet cafe and pretend her dinner plans had been canceled. She says it doesn't matter. It turns out this is a coffee shop, not a restaurant. Nick was like he'd never been on a date before. You sit in a coffee shop until you get hungry, and then you go to a restaurant. So it's a date. Nick wonders why he is here and not in 2082. Cheryl calls to confirm the reservation for tonight. There can't be no reservation. She reserved a table yesterday. Someone more important than Cheryl came along, so she was crossed off the list. It doesn't matter. You can eat gook pub or something like that. Cheryl will sort it out. She wants to see what kind of VIP it is. The guard hears the sounds of the bolt. Bandits broke into the building. One of them attacks the guard. The target is the Penelope restaurant on the 7th floor. They will take over every floor. The boss can't do this to Cheryl. He said there would be a table. He feels sorry. Suddenly, a very important person appeared. Cheryl was the last one to book, so she had no choice. If she comes tomorrow, she will be given the highest level of service. She won't have another excuse to meet, and if she asks him to come here again, he will most likely refuse. He was so insistent that Terry book a table here, and now he can't come. It's not for him to eat alone. Terry noticed Cheryl. She came to treat Nick, but her reservation was canceled. Terry also had a canceled meeting, so now she can go out to eat with Cheryl and Nick. 3 is more fun? It's possible after all. This is the table Cheryl reserved. The coffee here is excellent. Cheryl wrote that she would soon decide everything and return. Nick replied that it would be better to go eat soup. It was out of politeness. Umlis didn't know about this trait of his. It looks like he's either having some kind of hallucination or he's not in the mood today. Cheryl is late. About 20 minutes have passed. An anomaly was detected. All smartphones nearby lost signal. The door shutters on the 1st floor are lowered. Umlis reconstructs the voices on the 1st floor. People are puzzled as to why the shutters are closing. We need to go down and check. Armed personnel were found on the 2nd floor. The sounds of firearms reloading have been detected. You need to retreat. Enemies will appear in 10 seconds. There is only one way out. Then you need to break the window and jump out. This is the 2nd floor. Bandits burst into the restaurant. Judging by the boss's face, this is not a prank. We must remain calm and do what they say. Nick is on the 2nd floor now. If Cheryl calls, he will save them. The phone is banned, although there is still no connection here. No matter how strong Nick was, everyone was equal in front of a gun. And in his place, Terry would have gotten out of here immediately. Saving civilians is the primary mission of the Earth Alliance. Escape is not for them. Bandits appear on the 2nd floor. Some people think it's a flash mob. I need to post this. It turns out there is no signal. The bandit shoots at the shop window. The enemies are armed with semi-automatic pistols with a silencer, and a noise suppression module is attached to the body. These are not just robbers. At this point, Nick is unarmed and must leave the area. He doesn't want to retreat. This is not the best tactical decision. Cheryl never made it down from the 7th floor, so it's reasonable to assume it was captured first. If Nick comes here, he will be shot on the spot. The attackers don't care about them. Their target is that woman. This is Scarlett Kelly, CEO and head of research at American technology company Omega Tech. They make military weapons. When Terry's brother found out that Scarlett Kelly would be here today, he asked him to make a reservation. If they want that woman, it must be a dispute between arms dealers and they should be released. One more sound and they will be killed. If Scarlett just tells him the access code, she will be spared. No matter how much she loved money, it was pointless if she died. No matter how much they are paid, she will pay twice as much. It's not about making a few extra bucks. Scarlett won't give them the access code, even if they torture her. They will see if it is true. There are a lot of civilians here that can be killed. Umlis recorded an abnormal noise from above. Most likely the source was a pistol with a silencer. If the enemy fired twice, the first shot was most likely a warning. After the 2nd shot, there were sounds of breaking glass. A boy's cry is heard. The bandit demands that he remain silent. The mother tries to calm the child, but it doesn't help. A terrorist will kill anyone who makes noise. And here come the police. Nick wasn't used to attracting so much attention. Children cry when they are scared. A terrorist wants to kill a child because he cries. People don't do that, although he is not a human being. There's glass behind this guy. He thinks they won't shoot at him just because he's standing in front of glass. Silent bullets can't pierce a person, and at that distance, they won't miss. The terrorist is about to pull the trigger. But before he can fire, Nick rushes into the attack. He hits the terrorist on the arm. This blow breaks the bone. Nick dodges the shots. He overturns the table and takes cover behind it. He then throws it at the terrorists. He slams their heads together. A terrorist with a broken arm lies on the floor. He wants to shoot. Umlis displays the expected trajectory of the bullet Nick must dodge. He jumps and lands on the terrorist's head. It's incredible that he overpowered those armed guys so easily. The children are heading to Nick. He must be a hero. He dodged all the bullets. but one child noticed that he was shot in the arm. Umlis notes that children should not see so much blood. Nick grabs the terrorist's underwear. He pulls them over his head. No need to pay attention, and Nick's arm doesn't hurt, so everything is fine. We need to get rid of the weapon unnoticed. With this level of control over the situation, there could be another group of criminals outside. They are required to keep this area safe and move as carefully as possible. Nick rips off the terrorists' masks. They look unusual. We need to arm the civilians. It's better than being killed without offering any resistance. Nick asks if anyone has any experience shooting a pistol. 4 were found. There may be spies among civilians, so choose carefully. Nick asks the men to talk about their past. He chooses them. They have children. The terrorists could have sent spies, but it is unlikely that they would have taken children with them. Nick will check other places, and they will protect the cafe. You can't give the gun to anyone else or let anyone in except the police. Nick picks up the radio of one of the terrorists. Someone else from the gang gets in touch. They heard a noise. Umlis changes Nick's voice. Some people here didn't understand the orders, so he punished them. Nick asks the terrorist to come up here. He asks if anyone has a pocket mirror. These guys even turned off the elevator. Movement was detected on the first floor. Suspected enemies detected, Umlis enters combat mode. There are fewer of them than in cafes. Enemy collision in 2 seconds, expected position displayed. A terrorist appears. Nick dealt with him. After going down to the first floor, he uses a mirror. As expected, there is another person here, a security guard. Nick attacks him. That voice on the radio belonged to him. Nick carries the defeated to the second floor. This is a real security guard. It looks like he was knocked out. If there is no one left on the first floor, we need to get out of here. It won't work. They have firearms, and they could also have placed mine traps at the entrance. In addition, the button to open the shutters in the security room did not work. So Nick heads to the control room upstairs. No one was found on the 3rd floor. The same on the 4th. Sparking can be heard behind the open door. Nick comes in. This is the control room. All equipment is broken. They made it impossible to restore CCTV cameras, communications, and the internet. A terrorist accomplice is sitting in the park. A police car drives past. The police are here, but all communications have been cut off. They have guests, 1 patrol car. There are 2 policemen inside. Perhaps someone from the cafe called the police. Nick asks Willis to tune his voice to the enemy leader on the 2nd floor. While they were occupying the area, several people were talking on the phone or texting, and someone might have become suspicious and reported it to the police before the connection was lost. They call the 1st floor on another radio. Umlis imitates the voice. This is the 7th floor. They heard that the police arrived. They need to tell them that there are renovations in the building and everyone left, and the doors are closed due to an update to the security system. Even if the police arrived, they would not be able to enter the building without a warrant. Now they will continue their conversation about the access code. Scarlett asks who they are. If they could say it so easily, they wouldn't wear masks. Everyone who saw his face died. Let Scarlett give the access code while the terrorist is in a mask and this woman is still alive. This is Scarlett's secretary. She asks that you never tell her the access code. Prometheus Ouroboros Pandora. Scarlett gave the code, but first it needs to be checked. Their people are not standing outside for decoration. If the code is fake, Scarlett's friend is finished. The terrorist calls out the code over the radio. Scarlett lied. Access denied. The terrorist shoots the secretary. The games are over. Meanwhile, the police officers get out of the car. Someone in the cafe was waving their hands, apparently giving a signal, or maybe they were just dancing. There are pieces of paper stuck to the window that form the inscription terrorists have taken over. Call the police. The senior police officer says it's a prank. The police are leaving. What a relief. The police left. In fact, the terrorist shot at a bottle of red wine. He'll only give Scarlett 1 chance. Next time it will be for real. This is not something that the 2 police officers can handle. They have taken over the entire building. That's why the senior police officer pretended that everything was fine and told them to leave. Reinforcements are needed. There is a list of everyone inside. It will be expensive if there are celebrities there. The list includes actress Cheryl Han. If she is taken hostage or killed, the media and society will not remain silent about it. They're on the roof. These bastards have blocked the windows on all floors. Explosives were found at the main entrance. The command will arrive soon. The fight against terrorism is a special power zone. There is police outside. The patrol has left, but detectives and special forces have arrived. We'll have to go to Plan E. The terrorist tells Terry to come with him. He'll go down and deliver the message unless he wants to see his girlfriend get shot in the head. This girl is not his girlfriend, they just happen to be at the same table. They have already neutralized the 5th claymore with a laser detector. Starting from the 5th floor, they installed real bombs. Anyone else would have lost a leg by now. Nick hears voices. If Terry says anything out of place or tries to run away, his girlfriend will die. He goes outside and says everything is fine. There is a trap set on the stairs. He goes first. Terry comes down the stairs. He did it. A female voice reached him from one of the rooms. This means that someone remained on the lower floors, and all the traps disappeared somewhere. She dozed off in the office, and when she woke up, the elevator and phones were not working. We need to see how the team on the ground floor works. Escape is still impossible. They will simply cut off this civil and move on. Nick flies out to meet the terrorist. He attacks. A terrorist accidentally shoots one of his own. However, he is wearing a bulletproof vest. Having captured the terrorist, Nick takes possession of his weapon. He shoots another terrorist in the arm and leg. Then he starts shooting at the rest. He lands on their heads. Nick dealt with everyone. No additional threats were detected. They need information about the 7th floor. So these jerks tried to use Terry to get a getaway vehicle. This is the 7th floor on the line. They heard screams below. Mimicking his voice, Nick says there were 2 guys on the 5th floor and they took them out. They thought they had thoroughly combed every floor, but they missed the secret passage. Nick is a pro at imitating voices. When Terry went downstairs, Cheryl was fine, but he felt like they were keeping a close eye on her. Nick will go upstairs. Terry is armed and can fight. He served in the army and is a reserve sergeant. Nick asks what he did in the army. He was in the public relations department of the Ministry of Defense. Let him just wait here. If these guys wake up, you can shoot them in the head. Terry will only shoot at the body. Scarlett would never tell the terrorist the code. Then he'll just finish her off. Nick came to the 7th floor. The terrorists start shooting. Nick dodges bullets. He grabs one terrorist and throws the rest at him. All masked opponents are wearing bulletproof vests. Cheryl is missing. The terrorists grabbed her and the foreigner and went in that direction. It's unlikely that this guy is a cop. Whoever he is, they should escape with the target. It's not clear why they need this woman. She's too noisy. If the police start chasing them, they will simply throw it away, and they can also use it to threaten Scarlett to get the access code. Nick breaks through the wall. He made his way to where Cheryl and Scarlett had been taken. Umlis projects the expected direction of attacks. Nick jumps over the terrorists. He shoots at them. The terrorist holding Cheryl also shoots. Nick dodges the shots again. He yells at Cheryl to duck. Nick shoots the terrorist. The one who grabbed Scarlett shot her in the arm. If Nick doesn't drop the gun, he will kill her. Nick throws down the gun. The mine has been successfully defused and the shutters on the 1st floor are opened. Civilians exit the building. Terrorists with guns burst into the cafe and wanted to shoot them. But then someone even more frightening than the terrorists appeared. He dodged all the bullets and took them all down. It looked like he was using some kind of cloning technique. It felt like they were hallucinating or on drugs. There might be some kind of chemical weapon involved, so the suppression team donned gas masks. It was impossible to let him shoot. The terrorist was told that there were no problems on the lower floors. Apparently that's what he's talking about. The terrorist shoots. Nick grabs a knife from the table. He is preparing to attack again. Umlis predicted the terrorist's movements and hit the target. Let Cheryl and Scarlett use Nick as a shield and slowly back away. Nick will finish off the terrorist. He asks what his codename is. Nick gets down to business. He's a K-van man. The hostage has a bullet wound and needs first aid. Here the chef appears with a first aid kit. He guarded this area because it was his duty. It looks like the bullet only grazed the bone. Ready? The wound is not deep, but you need to go to the hospital. Scarlett speaks English and thanks Nick. They went through all this horror because of her. Scarlett switches to Korean and says that her grandmother is Korean. She thinks Nick is a special agent hired to protect her. He is an ordinary cook. Special forces enter the building. They discover Terry. Finally, the police are here. So these guys lying around are the terrorists. It wasn't Terry who knocked them out. The man went bam, 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 and whoosh, 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 and they were all down. There's a booby trap ahead. She has already been neutralized. The special forces went up to the 7th floor. They are blinded by the chef's shining bald head. Everyone is safe. There is one injured person, but she was given first aid. These connected people are terrorists. Some of them could have disguised themselves as civilians. Each one needs to be checked. Thanks to Nick, they avoided disaster. Nicknamed the Jackal, The leader is an international criminal involved in robberies, terrorism, and kidnappings for ransom. The rest looked like mercenaries. Nick is right. Only 3 of the Jackal's real subordinates were there. The rest were mercenaries. Someone must have lured the American into the building. Penelope's restaurant was recommended by one of her employees. Even for the police, it is not easy to deal with armed terrorists. Moreover, none of them received serious injuries. The police have suspicions about Nick's identity, and Umlis offers a list of excuses. Nick was a hermit for about 2 years. All this time, he trained in the mountains. He sat under the waterfall for 7 days, observing a fast. I wandered through the mountains and trained, digging up ginseng when I was hungry. He created his own martial art, which included the use of firearms, and practiced with a water pistol. This martial art is called the gun fist style. Impressive, but sounds like complete nonsense. Meanwhile, at the hospital, doctors discovered familiar stitches. The pattern and thread are exactly the same. The doctor asks who stitched up this wound. Scarlett can't tell them that. They were attacked by terrorists, and they cannot recklessly disclose such information. The doctor found the very man who stitched up the wound as if on a sewing machine. A victim of a gunshot wound came in, and the stitches were identical. They left immediately after the basic treatment. The investigation team allowed only one person to view it. Once again, all the work is being dumped on Pakistan. The senior detective gives it to him because he trusts Pak more than anyone else. He takes out the materials. He asks if David knows the movie The Day It Was Sunny. The hero of the terrorist incident is apparently the stunt director from this film. What's most shocking is that they know this person. David must remember that tightrope walker. This is the guy who helped improve their clearance rate. So it was him. He is a tightrope walker, an actor, a stunt coordinator, and also a martial artist. He appears to be a cook at a food truck and an internet cafe. The main target of their investigation is the Jackal. But they can't just ignore this Nick Stone. He single-handedly dealt with a large-scale incident. They saw him carrying someone from a burning building on a taut rope. There was speculation that he served in the special forces, but it turned out that he retired with the rank of sergeant from the administrative unit. It may be an elaborate cover-up. That is, the military used someone who could single-handedly take down an entire armed detachment as a clerk. Nick said he trained alone in the mountains for 2 years, eating ginseng. He fasted under the waterfall for 7 days. He diffuses the trigger mechanism without fail. Maybe he learned that under the waterfall. 2 days later, Cheryl comes to the internet cafe. She enters the kitchen. Nick asks why she is here. Cheryl hands him the bag. She brought this so that they could eat together. Let Nick cook something from these products. He wants Cheryl to leave. She says she's starving. But for some reason, she bought groceries and came all this way instead of going out to eat. She just feels calm when he's around. She doesn't have nightmares anymore. Nick doesn't listen to her at all. He will cook something with seafood. He irritates Cheryl so much, even though she actually likes him. The food is ready. Cheryl had heard that Nick was good, but she didn't expect him to be this good. She seems to be going crazy. Scarlett wants to try too. She is glad she found this place. She has friends in Korea. Nick doesn't like it when people dig under him. Scarlett just looked at his name and place of work. Umlis is confident that the government has also dug up his entire past. Scarlett wants to hire him as her bodyguard. If Nick agrees, he will be prohibited from other activities. He refuses. Then Scarlett will just buy something to eat. It's better than anything she's tried in the top restaurants. It's time for her to go. She's flying away today. Nick could work for her as a chef. She's hosting a party on a boat in Korea soon. There may be financial problems in the future, so taking her number would not be a bad idea. Nick can write to her and she will save his number. So she wants to get such a valuable number so easily. Scarlett needs to be remembered. And Cheryl, she is a mega beautiful actress from the movie The Day It Was Sunny. Scarlett gets into the car. Everything went as expected, which means it's not good. But Scarlett seems happy. She received some information. Nick is an amazing cook. His food is so delicious that she was genuinely amazed. Someone meets Scarlett at the airport. This is Cheolin Engineering's CEO, Fred Lee. He heard she was having a hard time. She just dislocated her arm. The manager heard that a terrorist attack had occurred. The fact that Scarlett was there is classified information. Fred's younger brother was there too and told him. He guarded the passage between the 5th and 6th floors. Fred planned to use their connection to discuss business together. But if he pushed too hard, they would become even more suspicious. Fred's brother owns a company in the entertainment industry, and the chef at that restaurant is also a famous person and knows his brother. He recently invested in the hit film A Sunny Day. It's time for them to board. Fred offers his business card. Scarlett asks the secretary to give him a business card. She only has one working arm now. Judging by the photographs, the technique is definitely the same. The spacing of the stitches, the knots, the precision of the stitching, it was definitely done by the same person. But they don't even know his name, and the police refuse to give any information. They need this doctor. Even if they have to pull all the strings, they will find out who he is. Nick is fixing the device. This is a machine for cutting and processing metal. It's okay, he's a master at fixing things like this. The equipment is dead. Umlis said it could be restored, but the equipment was in worse condition than expected, and additional tools and materials were needed. It's not Cheryl's fault it broke. Nick is angry not at her, but at the crazy part of himself that broke the device. Apparently, he's talking about that crazy thing that lurks deep inside all of them. Cheryl has that too. They are going shopping. She didn't know that Nick likes shopping. They come to the hardware store. Cheryl thought they were going to the department store. Her manager, Kevin Pan, calls. He asks where she is now. Kevin tells her not to drink alcohol and take care of herself. She just received an offer from CF Production. This is a drinks commercial, but Cheryl won't be filming alone. Kim Rain will also be in this commercial. Kevin can sign a contract right now, but he doesn't have Nick Stone's number. The advertisers want to add flashy moves and have it choreographed by a stuntman on a sunny day. They were inspired by the action in this movie. Nick is here, Cheryl will pass the phone to him. Nothing strange is happening here, they are in a hardware store. If so, then this is not a date. Cheryl just tagged along with Nick. This is Kevin Pan, Cheryl's manager and head of SAH Entertainment. He wanted to talk about the drinks commercial. Expanding the amount of equipment will require a larger budget. If Nick's face is not visible, then it's okay. True, the costume is a bit peculiar. This is a form-fitting suit. Kevin is glad to meet you. If he had known that Nick would come so quickly, he would not have eaten. He asks Nick to take on the project, and he agrees. Cheryl is hungry. The food in their company is very tasty, and it's always free for Nick. When Cheryl eats, have her call. Finally, she will eat together with Nick. Here Sam appears. He is a big fan of Cheryl and is honored to be with her. He came to check the server's security system. Recently, another agency's server was hacked. SAH Entertainment found out about it and called Sam. This is a serious problem. They should have hired a professional. Sam is a white hat hacker. He is very experienced. However, for some reason, he works in an internet cafe. It's a bit suspicious. Nick works there, a very skilled person, and now also an experienced hacker. Sam never told Nick that he was a hacker. He just has good intuition. Someone calls out to Cheryl. This is the group PP Girls. They wish Cheryl bon appétit. Sam said he was a fan of hers, but his reaction was completely different. He is a huge fan of PP Girls. He never saw them in person before, but now he is happy and can die happy. One of the participants looked familiar. Sam's done with his work here. He just tightened up the security patches. Nick is here to shoot a commercial. Actually, Cheryl will be filming, and Nick is needed for the action scenes. Sam wants to be his interim manager. And this date went down the drain. Nick and the others come to the filming of the commercial. The previous action expert got injured, so the production was almost canceled, and the director is very grateful that Nick took it on. Kevin thought filming was tomorrow, but time is running out, so he needs to start immediately. He didn't know it himself, but Cheryl didn't have anything else planned anyway. Kevin will keep an eye on everything. Nick changed into a suit. This is more ridiculous than he thought. Cheryl and Kim also changed their clothes. Nick looks amazing in these tights. He could at least wear green shorts. Nick wore something similar. Today's shoot will be tough, but it will not be Nick who suffers, but they. By the way, their costumes don't look very suitable for action scenes. They are actually wearing this. Kevin has finished preparing the contract. He just needs to put an electronic signature. The Wi-Fi went down. Things are bad. It looks like this program has disabled the internet. But it was Sam who told me to install it. The program detected a hacking attempt and disabled the internet to prevent it. The internet disappeared on all laptops. It turns out that all the company's computers have been hacked. Recently, hackers have been targeting celebrity agencies, and now they've even reached CF Production. Sam should know who did this, but he specializes in protection, not detection. If it's a matter of money, the director will pay 10 million won. This is not something that anyone can handle. It requires the cooperation of investigative bodies. Now Umlis will demonstrate powerful protection against hacking. You can leave this to Nick. He's joking, of course, but if you say something in a serious tone in such a situation, people will believe it. Nick is not joking. 10 million will be enough for him. It's a good thing he brought along the reverse tracing program he used last time. The reverse tracking won't take long. The remaining time is 240 seconds. Sam can already see the results, and it's only been 4 minutes. Nick has no idea how he did it. The enemy's location has been established. If the director doesn't believe him, he can verify it personally and then transfer the payment. He was able to track down the hacker in 4 minutes and gets 10 million for it. This will solve the company's problem if the director wants them to be hacked again. He may not pay. Detectives come to the address of the hacker identified by Umlis. They're from the police. There was a report of a break-in, and they're conducting a search. The hacker didn't plan to do anything bad. He was just curious and got a couple of phone numbers. Perhaps he wanted to use them to hack smartphones. He was just wondering if he could hack a smartphone. It was a joke, and he only hacked one. The hacker is arrested. I wonder how that company even figured it out. They're not IT. They say they hired professionals to do reverse tracking. The hacker was caught. So Nick is not only an excellent martial artist, but also a skilled hacker. Kevin asks if there is anything he can't do. Nick says the only thing he can't do is fail. He seems to fit the role of an ideal husband. Now that their martial arts master has bought them some time, they can begin. They wanted to finish filming today. That's what they will do. But it's time to switch to Sparta mode. The advertisement begins. Kim comes out first. Then Cheryl comes out. They begin the duel. Cheryl attacks. She breathes fire. And he starts to beat Kim with all his might. He is defeated. If you want to refresh yourself both inside and out, Potion Pan. This is just incredibly cool. The director has shot more than 50 commercials and cannot help but admit that Nick Stone is a god. 2 winning scenes for Cheryl and 2 for Kim in just a couple of hours. It's incredible. Nick did a perfect job. We can watch the footage together. Nick's hand was felt in every scene. And where Cheryl does a split, and when she flies through the air, and when Kim jumps high. Health has been restored. When you feel exhausted, Potion Pan. Filming is finished. The director thanks Cheryl and Kim for their hard work. He was very happy. The master does not feel tired. Kim was fooled into thinking that filming would be as fast as shooting a movie. Tomorrow, Cheryl's muscles will give her a St. Bartholomew's Day massacre. Thanks to Nick, Sam was able to see something amazing. Suddenly, Umlis announces a high level of danger. A civilian is about to be electrocuted. The equipment must be de-energized immediately. Nick grabs a paint knife and throws it at the equipment. The sound engineer is getting an electric shock. But the thrown knife cut the wires in time. Sandy Kwan lost consciousness. The victim needs to be checked. Nick feels the pulse. Sandy was electrocuted, but not too severely, and her physical reactions were normal. She's alive. This level of electrical charge is not lethal, but she still needs to be taken to the hospital. The director was scared to death. If Nick hadn't noticed in time, something terrible would have happened. Like a sniper, he cut the wires with one blow. He has incredible reflexes and managed to save them from the set collapsing during the filming of the movie. Looks like Cheryl's in love. They have problems. The equipment Sandy was responsible for is not working. It's obvious because the wires are cut, but it wasn't just the equipment that burned down, but also the computer they were working on. Luckily, the computer's sound failed, so the video is fine. You just need to overlay the video with the sound to finish editing. The original was on this computer, but it doesn't turn on. There is no backup copy. You can ask the composer to drop another copy. This is Sandy's older brother. If he finds out she was almost electrocuted, he'll rip their skins off. If the client finds out about what happened, he will definitely contact another company. They can't let all their work go to waste. The music starts playing. Nick plays the guitar. If you want to refresh yourself, Potion Pan. The director wants to replace the original song with a live performance by the stunt coordinator. First, they synchronize the recording with the video, and then they make it sound like the original. And they also need to record Nick's voice separately. I wonder how well he sings if the director reacted like that. Nika is asked to play the song from the advertisement in full. The guitar playing program is activated to raise the morale of the allies. You just need to adjust your voice. Nick will play the guitar part himself. When you want to refresh yourself, Potion Pan. When you're running low on stamina, Potion Peng. When you need a finishing blow, Potion Peng Peng. Sweet and bright strawberry peng, juicy grape peng. Crispy on the outside, soft on the inside, gobchang peng, spicy and elastic dakbel peng. The synchronization is perfect. The tempo is almost exact. The pitch was so precise that it was a pleasure to listen to. They are required to use Nick's version for advertising. They will use both the original and its version. It will be a huge success. This singer's voice sounds just like Nick's. This is him singing. Sam even heard him live. Nick is so cool. By the way, Cheryl is showing her old self again. Meanwhile, she quietly approached from behind. If Annie wants to stay alive, she should choose her words more carefully. Nick went to a business lunch. Cheryl was going to treat him to a drink to celebrate his debut as a singer, but he doesn't even answer the phone. Nick is sitting in a restaurant with Sandy. She appreciates that he saved her and is grateful that he allowed her to treat him. Anyone would do that. This place seems way too expensive for a sound engineer's salary, but Nick saved her life, so it's nothing. Besides, her brother is paying today. Kim appears. Even today, he looks forward to Don Sion's dishes. Sandy treats Nick to a meal as a token of gratitude for saving him. She heard that this is a great place. The chef, Don Sion, cooks divinely. Nick probably came to gather information about food as a chef. So he is a cook. Dong Seon thinks that he has come to spy on his restaurant and wants to steal his recipes. Umlis informs Nick about this. Don Seon misunderstood him. He didn't mean to spy. Of course, he's just an amateur. Kim really wants to eat lunch from that food truck. It was so delicious. Nick arrived on set in a food truck. If he wants to succeed, he must put aside his pride and be honest. Let him admit that he wants to know Don Seon's secrets. Here comes the chef with the shiny bald head, Sean Lane. Seeing Nick, he falls to his knees. Sean calls him a chef. After neutralizing the terrorists, Terry said that Nick saved him. At first, he seemed like a skilled cook, but he is also good at action scenes, voice acting, and fighting. Terry said he was probably at the level of a chef. Sean doesn't know what exactly Nick is cooking, but he would love to try it, and he also thanks him for saving him from the terrorists. You should have seen it. Don Seon would have been delighted. He saved both Sandy and Kim. Sandy's brother appears and says that Nick saved him too. He is composer David Kwan. Sandy would prefer to be alone with Nick. He saved the life of David's precious little sister. Umlis notes that despite his appearance, he seems very attached to his family. Sandy wants to ask for Nick's phone number. If she starts chatting with him, let her create a general chat and add David. Nick really did save everyone. He killed more than 10 armed terrorists. Don Seon looks pale. He sees Nick looking at him. It's on the house. Now that Nick's stomach is full, it's time to get to work. The equipment is outdated, so Umlis has no expectations. However, his voice is louder than usual. They will start by cutting metal. Umlis learned how to use this technique through internet searches. Nick wants to make some kind of personal weapon. If you cut the metal correctly, you will get a sword blade. Umlis objects that it is better to make a pistol first. Better armor? It's not illegal. In light of today's realities, Umlis offers custom dragon armor. This is a bulletproof vest that protects the shoulders, chest, and abdomen. The plates are precisely calculated to disperse the impact based on the body structure. This is a personalized bulletproof vest. One option can block a shot from a sniper rifle. Another can withstand several shots from a pistol. It's unlikely that anyone in Korea would shoot a sniper rifle. The Jackal Gang was an unusual case, so it's better to stick to pistol defense. Umlis suggests making calculations based on Nick's body type. The body can change over time. For example, it can gain muscle. Small changes are taken into account during design, but if the body changes significantly, for example, if Nick gains weight, then the protection will decrease. To make armor, you can cut up regular metal sheets. The problem is the budget now. They can only afford about 15% of the cost. But they made a ton of money. Umlis put them aside. When you put money aside, you forget about their existence. Umlis forgot about them, so they cannot spend them. Terry calls. He heard that Nick was good at catching hackers. They have strengthened their security system with professional firms and firewalls. Terry would like Nick to check their system. Umlis's hacking skills are only for faking identities and are of limited use. Nick says they can get paid if they do a good job. THO Entertainment has a high-end system, so they can test it during a security breach. The next day, Nick comes to Terry's company with Sam. He was checking the server security system for Cheryl Hand's agency, and thanks to him, the advertising company also quickly noticed the hacker attack. It's Nick Stone. He made their movie a hit and won staff awards. He was Kim Rain's stunt double, and he has the body of a celebrity. This girl is not that good. Don't fall in love with her. Romances are prohibited. This is the IT department's premises. They recently strengthened the firewall, but hacker attacks continue. Today they detected unusual traffic again, but they were unable to hack the system. So the specialists had already taken care of everything, but Terry still called Nick. Even after strengthening the firewall, something is still wrong. He trusts people more than the system. Since the security patch has just been implemented, there shouldn't be any problems. Even if Nick checks, he will end up wasting his time. Terry asks him to check it out just in case. It would be better to grant the request. sees a vulnerability that was already known in their time, but it has not yet been officially disclosed. There are a few documented cases of hackers exploiting this vulnerability, less than 10 worldwide. It's no wonder it hasn't been discovered yet. This is a test of protection against hacking, so it is enough to leave a text message after hacking. Nick wrote that he went to wash up but ended up just drinking water. He just broke through. They paid a lot of money, but it turned out to be so easy to hack the system. Nick exploited an undocumented vulnerability. Less than 10 people in the world know how to exploit it. The programmers are asking to explain how he did it. If they understand why they were hacked, they can find a way to fix it. Apparently, they want to find out for free. Terry asks if one of them can pay Nick the same amount as the company paid for this firewall. The programmers will report the compensation. There are many vulnerabilities, but disclosing them all could hinder information gathering. Such vulnerabilities are rare, and Nick didn't promise to tell them. Nick could sell this information. He will only share it within the security community Sam is a member of. To contact the administrators, you only need to become a full member of the club. The condition for obtaining full member status is the correct answer to 10 user questions. But even enthusiasts can't know everything. It will probably only take a few minutes. Sam had never seen anyone type so fast. The administrators of the Himosu security community can't help but approve of this guy. Nick just became a full member of Himosu. Building relationships with information security experts is helpful. Something appeared on the vulnerability bulletin board. This is Nick's message. If this is true, then it is very important and must be checked immediately. The firewall installed by the security company turned out to be too easy to hack. If this is not fixed quickly, a disaster will occur, and the information leak will lead to the hacking of more than 1 or 2 servers. Sharing information with IT specialists will have a positive impact on Nick's activities. By selling this information to a security company, he could have made at least a few thousand, but he gave it away for free. Says that this money could be used to buy new equipment. A person should have pride. Communication with IT specialists is important for the future in any case. If only one company knows about a vulnerability, hackers will continue to exploit it, so disclosing the information is the right choice. But don't disclose all the vulnerabilities. Undisclosed ones can be useful in emergency situations. But still, losing a few $1,000s is a bit painful. confirmed that an emergency security patch had been installed on the server, and there was a high probability that the issue would be fixed. The Himosu administrators acted quickly. Equipment for testing body armor is also ready. It was designed with ease of use in mind, as when muscles tense, the protective equipment stretches with them. This thing is made of metal, but it stretches well. The protection is capable of blocking a shot from a 9mm caliber pistol, but it had to withstand several shots. The fact that this thing is capable of stopping a bullet in such a small area is proof of Umlis's skill. The design development is complete, but with current resources, the percentage of production defects is increasing. Better equipment is needed. Nick needs to earn more money. The moneybags called just in time, and now Umlis isn't even embarrassed to call Terry that. His family owns Cheolin Engineering. Terry's brother is the CEO there. He heard what happened at Terry's company and wants Nick to check the servers there too. Nick is already on his way. Cheolin Engineering mainly produces equipment for the military and police, so security is at a high level here. They have a separate research server because the regular ones are easy to access. So you need to check your firewall, just like in THO Entertainment. This is the head of security at Cheolin Engineering. They have already updated the latest security patches. It seems Nick knew about this vulnerability before the patch was released, so he was able to find it. This firewall is not easy to hack using modern methods by today's standards. It has a rating of A- if you strengthen 3 areas. The protection level will increase to A. The security here is good, about level A-. There are a few weak points. Nick wrote them all down here. If they want to fix everything, they will have to work overtime for several days. Maybe Nick can help them. Or maybe it's worth hiring another company. The security issue does not currently pose a threat. Since Nick got it all done so quickly, Terry would like to take him to a place where there is a shooting range for visitors. Testing firearms will give them valuable information and is the closest experience to real-world conditions. Cheolin Engineering conducts firearms testing and receives government approval. Terry's father dreams of equipping their country's army, but they still have a lot of work to do. The CCTV cameras at this shooting range have no blind spots, so it's impossible to steal a couple of guns. Nick probably knows how to shoot rifles too. He's just about to try it. Stationary targets may be too easy for him, so Terry suggests turning on motion mode. Nick agrees. Terry asks to set the 5th level. The firing mode is started to test the weapon. When Nick takes aim, corrects for any errors. He's shot through all the targets. Nick isn't sure yet about the weapon's durability, but the accuracy is excellent. He scored all 30 points in just 10 seconds. Someone is testing a bulletproof vest. It was not made by Kaolin Engineering. A person brought his own to test. There are craftsmen who create such equipment themselves. In this country, you can't just do tests like that. That's why they come here. Father Terry has had difficulties with equipment issues in the past, so they are renting out testing space to make it easier for others. By submitting an application, you can rent weapons, dummies, and a shooting range. They need to test the dragon armor too. Nick wants to see the body armor being tested. Man-made, this dragon armor can easily withstand 8mm bullets. This armor is named the same as their armor. This is a prototype. Many people have created such things in the past, and the name dragon armor is quite common. This time the test will be with a rifle. The armor blocked the bullets. A real person would have broken ribs. Nick wants to apply. Access is free for him. He doesn't have a bulletproof vest yet. Just don't tell me this thing can stop bullets and shoot webs. It doesn't fit very well. The shape of the mannequin's hand is different from Nick's hand. If you adjust the shape with silicone tape, you can get useful data. The armor maker asks what Nick made it out of. It used a multi-layer composite structure made of aluminum alloy and stainless steel. It's hard to believe that such a thin layer can stop bullets. There is no way this thing can do that. People learn by going through such failures. He had already passed through this stage a long time ago. Even the Earth Alliance troops in the rear wouldn't use this body armor. Their dragon armor is thin and has good mobility. It is light, so it does not interfere with movement during combat. But this armor is not from 2082, and with the current state of the equipment, it is not possible to create such protective gear. Nick shoots the bracelet. All the elements were bent. It is clear that this bulletproof vest is much stronger. There is a small crack on the dummy, but the vest itself remains intact. The mannequin's hand is in perfect condition. There is no damage at all. The bracelet completely absorbed the shock. It broke, but was able to stop the bullet. The 10 million won received for today's security check has been credited to the account. Compiled a list of popular restaurants in the area. He would rather eat ramen made by someone else than a steak he cooked himself. Nick was paid 10 million for 1 hour of testing, but he pointed out 3 problems in the server's security system. There was something else strange about the shooting range. Fred should see this for himself. If Terry wants to repay Nick, he needs to give him a good role, not a job for a security specialist. Terry introduced him because Fred asked him to. Nick is good in action scenes, but his hacking skills are just incredible. Father needs to see this. This is a video from yesterday's armor test. It would be nice to use these sparks in the film. When the bullet hit the bracelet, the mannequin's hand didn't even move. The pistol shot should have made her lean back strongly. Terry knows better what it was. He saw it himself. He doesn't know. The bracelet stopped 1 bullet and broke. It has a composite structure that absorbs impact when broken. Fred didn't know that such thin structures could absorb shock so well. We need to find out where this technology came from and buy it, or at least get a license. Brother Terry would like to meet Nick. He is working now and cannot leave. In that case, they will come to him themselves. Terry will be behind the wheel. It's his car. Their competitors are likely unaware of the existence of this technology, and they need to be kept in the dark. This is the very place. Above the entrance to the workshop, there is a sign that says Earth Alliance Workshop. There seems to be a mixture of old and new equipment here. Fred asks what brand the bulletproof bracelet was that Nick tested at the shooting range. There is no brand. He just tried to do something. He made it here. Fred asks which company's technology he based it on. Nick developed the technology himself. He saved Molly. No need to interrogate him. Maybe he doesn't want to talk, or there's some other reason. They want to buy this technology. They want to use it for mass production of bulletproof vests. The current level of technology does not allow for mass production. The bracelet is made to individual measurements and will be difficult to mass produce. The human body must be carefully measured, and then each set must be handcrafted and assembled. Then you can sell them the measurement and calculation methods. They will study them carefully and find a way to set up mass production. Does not know the calculation methods. He used natural robotics computational skills. This skill is in an independent library, so cannot express it as a formula. It's a secret Nick wants to keep to himself. It relies on intuition, so it will be difficult to express it in the form of a formula or theory. But no one has yet tested technology of this level, created independently. Nothing is impossible. Everything can be studied with sufficient funding. Nick might be willing to sell the technology if he offers a huge sum. Scarlett Kelly is calling. She will be arriving in Korea soon and wants to meet. They're cooking something big for a party on the ship, and Scarlett wants Nick to help them with the food. She is rich, he will be paid just for advice, and he can also eat deliciously. Since Umlis insists so much, we can agree. Omega Tech is known for their robots and military technology. They must get ahead of them. Instead of mass production, you can start developing custom body armor. They will find buyers and take measurements. The equipment here is not bad, but it cannot compare with Cheolin Engineering. They will have to do a lot of trial and error. But since this is not Umlis and Nick's problem, everything is doable. Although unofficially, Fred was able to make a deal. He asks why Nick is hanging out with Scarlett Kelly. It was he who took out those guys in Penelope's restaurant and saved Scarlett. Nick doesn't write to Cheryl until she writes to him. Here he replied that it was working. Cheryl has a meeting. No overnight stays outside the home. Everything is wrong. Cheryl arrived at Nick's workshop. He made a bulletproof vest. He signed a contract and will be paid for the design. The more you peel an onion, the smaller it becomes. But this onion, on the contrary, gets bigger. Ready. It looks more like thermal underwear than a bulletproof vest. Cheryl wanted to eat with Nick. She didn't come to the middle of nowhere for noodles. If Nick had money, let him buy her braised ribs. He's not her wallet, and the ribs can make her fat. Cheolin Engineering began producing bulletproof vests based on Nick's designs. Thanks to his leadership, everything went smoothly. A week later, 2 test samples were ready. The new model can withstand up to 5 shots from a pistol. The first bullet was completely stopped, but the rest caused damage to the dummy. Tests were also conducted with rifles. The body armor perfectly deflected the first shot, but the second one penetrated it. However, it was absorbed enough to avoid a fatal wound. If Nick makes these body armor on his own, they should be able to make them too. Scarlett felt like she had come home. The boat rental was paid for with a surcharge. They had arranged with the best catering company. Invitations were sent out, by the way. Nick refused. He said he was too busy to have fun. He should have been invited as a chef, not a guest. Jessica should call him and invite him as an assistant this time. So Scarlett wants him to help with the cooking, and then she'll gently coax him into joining the party. Fred appears. Cheolin Engineering received an invitation and will send a representative. Fred needs to leave the country. His brother will attend in his place. Fred left Korea to take part in a tender to supply equipment to governments in Southeast Asia. Cheolin Engineering is competing with 3 foreign companies, and today is the day of its presentation to high-ranking officials. Thanks to civil servant Pak, they were able to take part in this presentation. Rumor has it that the winning company has already been chosen, but Fred still thinks that their efforts will not be in vain. Sophia Diaz has arrived. She is the daughter of an influential government official, graduated from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and is highly competent. She seems to be particularly close to one person. Suddenly a scream is heard. There was a man with a gun in the car that pulled up. This is a terrorist. His target is Sophia Diaz. Fred shields her from the shots. He is wearing a bulletproof vest. He didn't think he would have to test it in this way and that its effectiveness would be so impressive. The terrorist's car was surrounded by police cars. He is detained. Fred often tests the equipment and has already gotten used to it. Sophia Diaz wonders what kind of bulletproof vest this is. It's called Dragon Armor, and it's their company's latest development. Now you can begin the presentation. Fred was hit 3 times, but he's perfectly fine. If this body armor hits the market, body armor companies will be forced to close down. There is one weak point. It must be designed for each person individually. Scarlett asks if Nick is coming to the party. She decided that recruiting him would be too difficult, so they were going to him right now. Nick doesn't remember giving them his address. He refused, so Scarlett came in person. She wants to invite him to a party on the ship. They hired the best catering company. Scarlett asks Nick to check if there are any problems with the food. He needs to eat the best dishes to restore his strength and gain valuable culinary tips. The next day, Nick comes to the party. There are many famous people here. Cheryl is here too. She is a top celebrity. Her mere presence raises the prestige of this party, and she is not ashamed to say this out loud. Nick came to check if there were any problems with the food. The sea and sky are so beautiful, and the breeze is pleasant. Cheryl would believe it if she was told that everyone was trying to stop her from going on a date. All the main actors from the movie are here. Amanda and Molly too. Molly hadn't seen Uncle Mixie for a long time. Nick prepared several delicious desserts. Kim kept wondering why Cheryl was smiling. It was because of Nick. She didn't invite him. He came as a culinary consultant. Molly tries the cake. Crispy, nutty, tender, and sweet. Soon the guests had eaten almost all the desserts. A boat approached the ship. These are pirates. Some of the workers are in cahoots with them. He lowers a rope, which the pirates use to climb onto the deck. The leader rises first. They are heading to the wheelhouse. The ship suddenly stops. There is no signal on the phone. Jessica has a bad feeling about this. She takes out a walkie-talkie. Everyone be on guard. Stopping in the middle of the sea was not planned. Shots are heard. The pirates demand that everyone lie down on the floor. One of the bodyguards almost hit one of them. They said they wouldn't have guns. The pirates start shooting. They will shoot anyone who screams. Someone just fired a gun on deck. It looks like there are quite a lot of enemies. First, you need to get some weapons. There are no firearms, but there are knives. This is Korea, and the bodyguards are armed. Apparently, the US government is involved here. The connection is completely cut off. We need to start the engine immediately. The target acquisition operation has failed. The situation has changed, which means the plan has changed too. As soon as they get lost among the Chinese fishing vessels, they will be able to slip away. But first, you need to get the target. She is nowhere to be seen. Until she shows up, they will kill one after another. Molly starts screaming. The pirate grabs her. If the target doesn't show up within 10 seconds, they'll throw the girl into the sea. Scarlet appears. Using hostages to threaten is a surefire way to go. Something is happening. An unknown weapon begins to hit the pirates. These are knives. Nick came out onto the deck. He began to attack the pirates at close range. The enemy's numbers don't even reach the full detachment. They can hardly be called a large group. Following the report of a cruise ship hijacking, police were again forced to work overtime. The Coast Guard is 30 minutes away, and the police will be working with the Air Force. The ship is heading at full speed towards Chinese waters. They found the guest list. Among them is Nick Stone. The pirate leader orders to shoot that girl and the woman next to her. This guy is a Korean agent who caught the jackal. There were rumors that he could easily dodge gunfire. The leader didn't believe this was possible, but it turns out he was experienced enough to pierce a bulletproof vest with a kitchen knife. The pirates are shooting. Their target is not Nick, but Molly and Amanda. Nick grabs Molly. He made it clear to them that they should not move. The pirate takes aim at Cheryl. Nick throws a knife into his hand. He begins to attack the pirates hand to hand. The leader shoots him. Nick slams his fist on the table. Cutlery is flying off him. Nick throws them at the pirates. The enemy commander is nowhere to be seen. Molly thinks she sees a ghost. Nick is wearing a bulletproof vest. Cheryl thought he had been shot. Dad said he can dodge bullets. If he had dodged, Molly and Amanda would have been shot. He wanted to take the blow himself. He beat those guys with pistols with a fork. Scarlet is indebted to Nick again. They wanted to get the access code to a confidential server. Scarlet can't tell what's on it because that information is classified. Umlis believes that the necessary information may be there. There are too many ears here. Scarlet suggests meeting alone. This infuriates Cheryl. Nick took a bullet to save her. It must be very painful. Stop groping Nick's breasts. Even Cheryl hasn't touched them yet. Nick's body feels like it's made of steel. He is wearing a bulletproof vest. Apparently, this is a Cheolin engineering prototype. Cheryl knows it works by dispersing the impact when a structure is destroyed. There are too many eyes here. She better move away a little. Then you can move to a more secluded place. The fight is not over yet. The pirate captain is still not caught. Maybe he ran to the wheelhouse. Nick will go there. He asks everyone to hide in a safe place. He better stay here because it's dangerous. If nothing is done, the ship will soon leave Korean waters. It doesn't look like they're heading to a safe haven. They have to stop them before their plan works. Let Nick at least take this, Chopsticks. He's used something like this before. At that time, he was far from the target and in a confined space. But just in case, he will take the sticks. Judging by the ship's layout, this is the wheelhouse. The enemy has been spotted near motorboats. They escape from the ship. Nick shoots. If the cruise ship continues to move at this speed, the Chinese Navy will be able to intercept it and turn the ship around. But Nick will deal with them first. The Coast Guard heard the shots and will now act quickly. The ship is changing course. It was heading to China, but now it is turning back. Terry must go to the wheelhouse and help steer the ship. Cheryl will come too. They are met by the pirate leader. He grabs Cheryl. So, those who escaped on the boat were his people. Nick is upstairs. He jumps off. Let her just come closer, and the leader will blow this woman's head off. Nick trades his gun for the woman. It's loaded. He actually threw the gun to the leader. If he moves, not only this woman will die, but all the others as well. A chopstick flies at the leader. She breaks the gun. The leader grabs the weapon Nick gave him. It doesn't shoot. No ammo. When the magazine is empty, the weight of the gun changes and he doesn't feel the difference. Nick asks who sent him. The pirate says he doesn't know, then let him go overboard. The middleman said he would pay well if he found the access code. He really doesn't know anything else. If Nick lets him go, he'll tell you who the middleman is. This is a lie. Nick brings the pirate back to the deck. He hits him. Nick easily ruined the pirate's plans, and the cooks, unaware of what had happened, were focused on preparing food. When the Coast Guard arrived, people were already enjoying desserts. All those who looked like pirates were neutralized. Most were injured with chopsticks and forks. This is the second attack on Scarlet. Maybe she should hire more bodyguards. Everything is fine. She has special protection. She always wins. The wounded bodyguards are fine. Their wounds are not fatal. They've increased the security level of the lab's confidential server by 2 notches, so if the access code is obtained, it will be of no use. We need to spread the word. There's no point in touching Scarlet now. The Jackal case is not over yet, and there is already a new problem. For some reason, this happens where Nick Stone is. He may be involved. Both incidents were caused by Scarlet Kelly, who hired Nick to check the food at the party. It was no disguise. His culinary skills are impressive. Reports confirm this. According to witnesses, he was wearing a bulletproof vest. This is a product of Cheolin Engineering. This bulletproof vest is made to order and is very expensive because mass production is not possible. It is believed that Terry Lee, the son of the CEO of Cheolin Engineering, gave it to Nick. So he made it himself, and trusting this homemade thing, he risked his life for Cheryl. Someone enters the workshop. This is Jane Chen from the Cheolin Engineering design team. Nick works there part-time. He is the leader of their team. Nick himself didn't know about it. Yesterday, a detective came to ask about the dragon armor, and it led to his promotion. Terry said that Nick is the head of their design team. He was hired from outside to take on the role of team leader. Nick asks why Jane is here. You can talk in front of Cheryl, although she won't understand much. Jane can't allow this to happen. If inside information leaks, it will become a problem. The new prototype of the dragon armor has had the material changed. Nick can go with Jane to the company to check. He agrees. Heaven just doesn't want Cheryl and Nick to be together. They received an additional order for 9 bulletproof vests. Their effectiveness was proven during a trip to East Asia, which significantly increased the chances of contracting with the police. The development team leader enters. He heard that Nick was here. He offers to test this weapon if he is at the shooting range. This is the prototype of the Earth Alliance Speedstar sight, the first model used in 2082. Another thread leading to the Earth Alliance. Nick comes to the shooting range. He asks if it's okay for an outsider to do this, but he is the team leader. And of course, he gets paid. Testers get $1,000,001. If Umlis's memory serves him right, this is not a product of Cheolin Engineering, but of another company. He can't find any information, but he's sure it wasn't developed by Cheolin Engineering. This device is called a Falcon Eye. The name is different. Maybe the bastard who ruined the company sold this technology. While testing the sight, you can also try out the dragon armor. The machining and assembly have been improved. There are no more weak points that can be penetrated with one shot. The sight works well. Nick pointed out areas that could be improved. It didn't even occur to them that if they set it up like this, the chance of hitting fast-moving targets would increase. If the armor turns out to be weaker than the test results suggest, it's just a sizing issue, and they should definitely report it when they submit their report. Nick gets a call from Jane, who tells him they just received an order for 10 bulletproof vests from Korea. But dragon armor is not government certified, and they cannot sell it to officials. That's why a government representative wants to meet with Nick. Today he is busy. Let him come to the internet cafe tomorrow. Providing military-grade dragon armor to civilians is against regulations. Cheryl is their assistant, so everything is fine. The fighting skills of this assistant are just pathetic, but that is exactly why she needs her. Someone is knocking at the door. They are here about ordering dragon armor. These are not the people Jane mentioned. Nick asked who they were, not why they were there. They would prefer to keep it a secret as it is an informal request. Nick lets them in. They are from the National Intelligence Agency, and they plan to wear these bulletproof vests themselves. 2 copies are needed. Nick asks what department they are from. His name is Manager Kim, and this is Manager Lee. Nick asked what department they were from. They cannot disclose this information. Then let them go. Maybe they'll go rob a bank wearing these bulletproof vests? They don't want to show their IDs and think Nick will just put up with it. If he is not careful, he might get hurt. They offer him a chance to serve the country and he acts like a jerk. If they are really from the government, let them apply directly through Cheolin Engineering. He will regret this. Nick told them to get lost. Most likely, they really are from the government. I shouldn't have tried to argue with Nick, but he scared off the client, and the client is always right. And they are not ordinary clients, but the elite. After all, they should be taking measurements now. Nick treated them like some kind of bandits, so they had a fight. They almost got into a fight, and the order was rejected. They were lucky to at least stay alive. If they ever ran into Nick again, they shouldn't get into a fight. They could die. Kim is an elite operative who protects the country and the people. He may be a living weapon, but he doesn't kill civilians. Sam wants Nick to cook for them more often. He is not their personal chef. He cooks for Annie, not for them. I'm out of ingredients for fried rice. I need to go to the store. The man who entered was not a client. He came to meet Nick Stone. Apparently, he's talking about dragon armor. This is Norman Sue, a bodyguard from the security service. Dragon armor is not certified, but they have real combat data. They heard how Nick dealt with the Jackal and a group of foreign mercenaries in Gangnam, as well as the pirates on the cruise ship. Among other things, he is the creator of the Fire Fist style. It's too late to say that such a martial art does not exist. In fact, the body armor wasn't the main thing. They were hoping that Nick could train their agents in this style. They are a national unified team for joint training, and they are here to learn it. This style is not something that ordinary people can learn. Nick can't say why this is impossible. They're not asking him to work as an official instructor. They've already prepared training areas and interns from several agencies. Nick just needs to show up. Umlis has the skills to train bodyguards for ordinary people. If they establish connections with agencies and receive money, they will kill two birds with one stone. Nick will teach them the basics. One more task to add to the list. Nick wants to go shopping. Cheryl is indeed a celebrity. They see each other every day. She was hungry and hoped to eat something from his dishes for some reason. Everyone around him was always hungry. He complains, but still cooks something delicious. This is director John Harper. He's probably filming a drama here. Cheryl was just passing by and saw him. John wants to make the fight scene more dramatic, but he can't find the right angle. This is the climax of the drama, and he doesn't want it to be weak. Someone can help with this. This is Nick Stone. He directed the action scenes in their film. It's a great honor for John to meet him. They say he's a master of dynamic action scenes. John asks to help them with the filming. He will be paid generously. They are filming the scene where Helen Rome's bag is stolen. Nick will act as a stunt double for the main character, who will ride past on a bicycle and, as if nothing had happened, he will stop the robber and ride away. The actor playing the villain will simply run away. Nick will take care of the rest. Cheryl also wants some role, John agrees. She will be filming with Nick. Helen Rome doesn't like this. Cheryl shouldn't interfere. Umlis searches the database. The name Helen Rim is a supporting actress in this drama. She has more notable works, but she likes her debut drama Love for 1,000 Years the most. Nick mentions this drama. Although her role was small, her emotional performance was highly praised. It seems Nick is a fan of hers. Helen is a fan of his too. She knows him well enough to call herself that. Everyone in show business knows he's the best at martial arts and cooking, and he's also Helen's type, so she asks for his phone number. Stop wasting time, it's time to start filming. So I just need to run away and he will take care of the rest. Patrick Sung may play villains, but he's also an action guy, and that just doesn't feel right. Filming begins. Inside this tube is the result of 3 years of work. The villain, passing by, grabs the tube with lightning speed. Helen's heroine runs after him. She twisted her ankle. The heroine calls for help. Now it's Nick's turn. The camera's position and angle are confirmed, and Umlis will help you capture the most striking and stylish angles. If he drives that fast, things won't go according to plan. I'll have to show off my skills to confuse him. Patrick starts jumping on his bike. Then he rides along the railing. He is crazy. Nick probably won't be able to repeat this. Umlis understood everything. Nick flies into the air along with his bike. He jumps onto the roof of the gazebo. Then he jumps off her. He prepares to attack the villain. The tube and helmet fly upward. Nick picks up the tube. He returns it to Helen and leaves. He's totally her type. Removed. Helen mixed up her lines, but this line fit perfectly and her performance really improved. Patrick felt as if he were lying down on a freshly washed, sun-dried blanket. He admires Nick Stone. John asks to help them again and add more action scenes to the script. The screenwriter has already made edits. Nick left, but John wanted to reshoot everything right now, and Helen hadn't gotten his number yet. The next day, Nick comes to the gym. It's spacious here, an ideal environment for the owls to start their program. Norman and the interns greet Nick. They warmed up beforehand. They are bodyguards for Lin Do and Chris Lam. He is the head of the Kim department from the intelligence agency. You can just call him Kim. All the bosses named Kim in this area are a little weird. They are looking forward to working with Nick. He is sure that they are all martial arts professionals. But first, we need to look at their skills. Nick takes off his hoodie. Let them attack. Any martial art can be used. Everyone needs to attack at once. Nick seems to be underestimating them. It's not that easy to defeat them. Lin attacks first. Nick overpowers her. The same thing happens with Chris. Kim attacks from behind. Nick grabs him. He fell too. Norman won't give up so easily. Nick strikes. Norman grabs his hand. Nick really needs to worry about his joints. He lifts Norman into the air. He sets off on a flight. So that's all they can do. They are attacking again. While they were trying to overcome Nick, the day began to draw to an end. They can't defeat him. He could even put a world champion on his shoulder blades. He is not interested in such competitions. They must have warmed up well. Now it's time to move on to the main training. Nick is such a wonderful person. He even treated them to chicken, beer, and pizza. If he had cooked it himself, it would have been much tastier. He will cook if they pay him. By the way, the drama Blue Sky was filmed right in front of an internet cafe. Nick's trick is just awesome. Renee thinks the wheel's rotation was added as graphics. The wheels can spin on their own. This is Cheryl Han. She said she was in it too. In the scene where she argues with Helen Rome, her acting is simply flawless. Nick needs to do something. He calls Cheryl. He and the guys were eating chicken and drinking beer. Her name came up, and Nick thought of her. In fact, he remembered that he had to give her something. He will come to her himself. Nick is waiting in the yard. Cheryl was cleaning, so she was a little late, didn't even have time to put on makeup. Says that's not true. She's clearly wearing a lot of makeup. Nick hands her the bag. This is underwear. Well, not exactly. It's more like clothing that is worn under other clothing. The package is heavy. Even if the weight is reduced, it is still steel. It cannot be light. Nick suggests taking a look. Cheryl takes out a bulletproof vest. She thought it was real underwear. Nick has to go. It's late. He needs to sleep. Their film has reached 10 million views, and there will be a party to celebrate tomorrow night. Director Michael Min asked me to pass this on to Nick as he wasn't answering his calls. If Michael had been alone, he might have given up halfway through. But since they were all there, today he can be called a director with 10 million. He's already drunk. We need to take advantage of this and ask him for a favor. Next to their handsome actors, Ben Gray looks like a squid. They heard that he was writing a script. It's called The Window of Destiny. The title is based on the classic film from 2082 directed by Ben Gray, a film recommended for soldiers. Umlis has a list of successful films. The film Window of Fate is included in the list of classic masterpieces. It is an action film whose plot revolves around a spear-shaped relic. The film switches between present-day events and those that happened hundreds of years ago, and the budget required is huge. So Ben is now deciding whether to simply skip them and explain everything through dialogue. In the introduction to the masterpiece Window of Destiny, there is a line where the past and present intersect. There is no need to remove episodes from the past. It is the intersection of past and present that makes this film truly worthwhile. If Ben does decide to make the film, perhaps Nick would agree to help with the action scenes. Ben asks to forget about that incident. He jumped to conclusions then. If you just need help with fight scenes, Nick is willing. Cheryl and Kim ask for the script to be sent to them. They are always happy to see such talented actors and actresses. A drone approaches the party site. Don't underestimate the power of photographs. Those reporters are here for that very reason, but they can't get inside. If they take photos with a drone, they will definitely sell them, and they will split the profits equally. Drone flight noise recorded. Umlis suggests knocking him down, but if he falls, someone might get hurt. Don't pay attention. Here the drone is noticed. Maybe it should be shot down, but it's dangerous. We need to catch him. They are relaxing here, and a drone was sent to them. Michael waves the bottle. He throws her at the drone. That one explodes and falls on fireworks. For now, it's just beautiful. Umlis warns that the box may explode. It is impossible to calculate the trajectory of the explosion. The inside of the box is poorly visible. The fire has been recorded spreading, and the risk of an explosion is rapidly increasing. Everyone lie down on the floor. There was a risk of injury from sharp fragments. The two most dangerous ones are heading towards Cheryl Han and Diane Steele. Nick grabs Cheryl. Diane is about to be hit by a splinter. Nick grabbed him. He's fine. There was no other choice. He got hurt because of Diane. Nick takes a bottle of soju and pours it on the wound. It hurts a lot. His body is equipped with military-grade fitness enhancement technology, so there was no need to pour soju on the wound. Several people suffered minor injuries, but one could suffer serious blood loss if the bleeding is not stopped immediately. Michael has been drinking quite a lot and is now bleeding heavily. Cheryl has a first aid kit. Nick is also bleeding. Michael didn't know the drone would fall right into the fireworks. Nick bandaged his hand. It will heal. First, we need to stop the bleeding on the director. The stitches have been applied. The bleeding has stopped temporarily. Michael should go to the hospital immediately. It's natural that the party is canceled and people are hurt. Someone who sent out a drone just filmed an accident involving a bunch of the coolest actors. It's just the bomb. It looks like the drone crashed. It could have caused the explosion. If that explosion was their fault, they will go to jail. We need to get out of here. When something bad happens to Michael, it means his next movie will be even better. Seriously, it was dangerous. The more he thinks about it, the angrier he gets, even though it was only his fault. The doctor wonders why the wound looks like this if there were no medics with Michael. Yesterday, director Michael Min, whose film recently reached 10 million views, had an accident while celebrating the event. The incident took place on the rooftop of a building in Hongdae, where actors and crew members were present at the party. According to eyewitnesses, a filming drone was flying over the roof. The area was closed to the press, but it later emerged that the paparazzi had found a way to get exclusive footage. During the recording, the drone suddenly exploded, and two criminals who witnessed the explosion attempted to escape, but were captured. There is no mention that Michael Min himself caused the explosion, but the public could still blame him. The wound healed after sleep. The whole body was strengthened, so minor injuries heal quickly. They came to Nick. Umlis recalls that this is composer David Kwan, the brother of Sandy Kwan, who was almost electrocuted. He heard from a mutual friend that Nick had been at the scene of the drone explosion yesterday and had saved the actors' lives at a critical moment. David wanted to thank him for saving Sandy and thought he could repay him by offering him a part-time job. He heard that Nick was doing odd jobs, so he wanted to ask him to help him record a song that David had written. Annie thought she was the only one who knew that Nick sang like a professional. You don't have to sing perfectly, you just need to hit the right tone and rhythm so the lead singer can understand the melody and atmosphere. But since Nick sings well, there is nothing to worry about. His shift is already over. Nick is singing. David wants to record again. It's been 2 hours already, and he still doesn't seem to like it. He seems to be one of those perfectionist composers. The delivery, rhythm, and diction are impeccable. What he wants is beyond perfection. It is an obsession. Every time David asks for a re-recording, the song becomes more and more perfect, and he can't stop. His greed knows no end. In the evening, SAH Entertainment hosted a corporate dinner. Their actors and singers haven't all gotten together for a long time. If there is not enough meat, you can order more if necessary. Tim Zie will buy a whole cow. I wish we had dinners like this every day, where we could eat as much as we wanted and let the trainers be the ones on the diet. Cheryl did a good job too. Tim is asked to step away for a minute. Composer David Kwan just sent their team a new song. Another hit, the singer's eyes lit up. Tim hasn't even heard the song. He can't decide right now who will get it. There are a lot of people who want to. Maybe PP girls should raise their hands too, but I doubt they have a chance. They're newbies. First, you need to at least listen to the song. Today, as always, at the end of a hard day, he walks clutching the spear that he himself plunged into his heart. Even if he feels like he might break, he won't give in. A quiet tremor inside him helps him stay on his feet. This is Nick's voice. This song has already been sung by a professional singer. Tim just listened to the song. She's just incredible, but it doesn't seem like she's for them. This is a supporting track. It's just crazy and it's raw voice. So it doesn't belong to any label. Tim means whoever recorded the track. He wants to take him into his company. David says it will be difficult to arrange. This man works part-time at an internet cafe, although he seemed to say that he was a stunt coordinator in films. Kim Yoon said he was a chef, or maybe he was an engineer. Tim chooses a singer for the song I'm Walking Again that he talked about yesterday. The three of them are talented and confident. Tim felt that their voices and overall vibe suited the song perfectly, so he chose them. The problem is which one to choose. They can all sing once and then decide. If they compete, the pride of both of them will be damaged, so they rely on luck. Rock, paper, scissors, if they don't play, they're out. A precious victory after 4 draws. They have big problems. The file containing the recording was leaked onto the internet. The song was so good that some employees copied the file to listen to it and accidentally leaked it. Before it can spread further, an official single needs to be recorded and released. Who will sing it needs to be decided without unnecessary noise. If you think about it, Stanley Graham really did throw his hand out too late. He gave up. In fact, Ray Blackley was also thinking about giving up. Colin Kane is the youngest among them, so it is logical that he should give in. They won't be able to sing better if the official version sounds worse. Humiliation is inevitable. It's up to Tim to decide what to do with the song. A lot of people would be happy to sing it. Kevin Park heard screams. A song by composer David Kwan has been leaked online. Their company already signed a contract, so someone has to sing it, but everyone says the backing track is better and refuses. The track was of course recorded by Nick Stone. It would be nice if he recorded the official version too. Kevin comes to Tim. This is Cheryl Hand's schedule for next month. She's in contact with the guy who recorded the track. Maybe she should try to get him to Tim. Kevin isn't sure this will work, but he can at least try to get this singer's contacts. Cheryl gets a call from Kevin. She has a day off today. Kevin asks if she's with Nick now. The track he recorded has been all over the internet and they're having a headache because they don't have a vocalist. So they thought maybe Nick could just make his debut and record an official version. Tim asks to give him the phone number if he is there. Nick refuses the offer. As a singer, he will be recognized much more often, which could hinder the mission. Nick says he has a fear of the camera. Fighting is no problem, but singing is a different matter. In this case, you can release an album and share the proceeds from online sales with Nick. If the song becomes popular, it can be used as background music in commercials, or you can earn royalties for performing it in karaoke bars. Of course, the artist gets paid too. If he can release a record without showing Nick's face and still make money from it, then there's no reason to refuse. Then they will do so. 2 days later, the official track is recorded. Nick's voice began to sound even better. Now it's clear why the singers were shaking after the track leaked. Great job! Tim asks if Nick will use his name as a stage name. For mission security reasons, it is best not to reveal your true identity. It would be better to have a pseudonym, and since it's only for one song, something simple is needed. Nick will settle on gayball. This word has 2 meanings: development and dog's paw. Puppy paw will sound cuter. Nick meant the development, the process. You can use deng deng bao, dog paws, or bao can be removed. So deng deng doki. This is how the faceless singer Deng Deng was born. It's the rap party, and Cheryl has absolutely nothing to wear. It was the filming of the drama Blue Sky, in which Helen Rome starred. Cheryl also starred there. It seems like she finally has a boyfriend since she's so worried about her clothes. I can't believe that anyone can put up with her character. By the way, Helen's mother called and said that she couldn't get through to her. She said that Helen had gone out for some fresh air this morning and was not answering her calls, and asked Cheryl to try calling her too, as she was unlikely to answer. Let him call. Maybe something happened. Helen's phone is switched off. It's weird, she never turns off her phone. Cheryl asks Nick to look for Helen. She is one of those who can wait forever for the right project. Today, Director Harper, the writers, and even Nick should be at the party. Considering that they can start discussing the next project, it's strange that Helen hasn't gotten in touch. Her phone couldn't have died. She has a charger in her car, and it would be even stranger if the car broke down too. Nick asks Umlis to hack Helen's social media, but he says his hacking skills are only useful for faking identities and supporting agent missions. This is a mission to rescue a missing person. Rescuing civilians is the main business of the Earth Alliance. Umlis launches a program to track Helen. This morning, she wrote a post about going to Yangpyeong to take photos and uploaded them online. According to traffic camera photos, she left Yangpyeong and came here. So, to Nick's workshop, it is unclear how she found out the address. Cheryl was only worrying in vain. These photos were taken 3 hours ago. If Helen had been driving here, she would have been here already. Given that a crime may have been committed, we need to find everyone whose route crossed Helen's today. After some time, Umlis compiles a list of suspects. The main suspect is Cheryl Han, who has been arguing with the missing woman frequently lately. My finger just slipped. Umlis narrowed down the suspects to 3: a vehicle whose route intersected Helen's, a man suspected of stalking her, and a man involved in a scandal involving Helen. They go to the police station. The police are best placed to track the location. Nick and Cheryl come to the police. They came to report a missing person. Perhaps a crime had been committed, and they urgently needed help. Here is information about the suspects. Nick helped Cheryl. The missing person is actress Helen Ream. This is a missing person case. We need to initiate emergency location tracking immediately. They have big problems. Matthew handed over the documents to the client. The money will arrive soon. They spent a whole year trying to pull this off and sell that land, and when it's all over, they'll go to a resort. That's not the point. Today, Danny was in Yangpyeong and saw Helen Rim. He saw her go north. He needed to go that way, so he followed her. But then she turned onto a country road and drove slowly, so Danny's car naturally drove closer. The road was very rough, and Danny hit a rock and collided with Helen's car. The police investigating their scam may find out that he was nearby, but it was far from Yangpyeong. Danny saw that Helen was unconscious and thought that she was badly hurt. Then he put it in the trunk. The road went through the forest. Danny just left her car there. Harry orders the trunk to be opened. Helen looks like a kidnapping victim. It's really Helen Rome. Danny is an idiot. If the police arrive because of an accident, all their work will go down the drain. If Helen is let go, she will report it and Danny will be arrested. But if he opens his mouth, Harry will be finished too. We just need to bury it. Nick arrives at the scammer's house. This is the same car. Nick glanced at the computer while the police were tracking the location. After analyzing their data, the driver of this car emerged as the most likely suspect. And Cheryl only has to do this because Helen's phone is turned off. Maybe Nick wants barbecued ribs for dinner. They're looking for Helen, but maybe she'll show up while they're eating. Because of Danny, Harry has to go through this shit. He throws Helen to the ground. They have no choice but to report them. Their year-long project will go down the drain. When they're done, they'll get out of the country, live a normal life, and tell the Korean police to go to hell. Danny only brought Helen because he panicked. But it was Harry who suggested the murder. For some reason, he does all the work, but if you think about it, it was Danny who caused the accident. Harry doesn't deny that he's a fraud, but Danny is to blame for the kidnapping. He would never kill Helen. He appears to be hiding something in his pockets, but Danny insists there is nothing there. Harry throws down the shovel. Then Helen will bury Danny. If he does this, Harry will believe him. Helen begs for mercy. She swears that she will not report to the police. She's too noisy. Harry orders her mouth to be taped. Helen starts calling for help. Here Nick appears. Danny did say that no one comes here. It doesn't matter, they'll kill them both. Nick jumps off the hill. Helen will kiss him if he wins. Nick throws Danny. Then he attacks Harry. Danny takes out a knife. Nick dodges the blow. He starts beating Danny. It falls right on Harry. Nick throws both of them into the pit. The police and an ambulance arrive. When Nick reported the missing person, Pak didn't quite believe it. However, Helen Rome was indeed kidnapped. They came here for some barbecued ribs, and then they just happened to find Helen here. It was pure luck. But it's definitely not just luck. Nick and Annie come to the hospital to see Helen. No symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder were detected, and she looked well. If Nick hadn't come, Helen would have been in real danger. She asks how he found her. He was just lucky, following clues like tire tracks or a person carrying something heavy. Helen wants to know how he knew she was missing. Maybe he was following her all this time. She stopped answering her calls, so Cheryl asked Nick for help. Helen should thank her. If it weren't for Cheryl, she would already be dead. Cheryl heard that she only had a sprained ankle and a few bruises, and that she was just hiding there from the media. Nick may remember what Helen promised to do if he won. People often say stupid things when they panic. Helen is one to keep her promises, so she would like to do this. She promised Nick a kiss. She's completely lost her mind. They've been like this since school, but they're actually very close. The doctor enters. This is Helen's cousin, Sam Jun-sok. And this is the martial artist who saved her. The doctor recognizes Cheryl. He is a fan of hers. He should share his brain with Helen. She still doesn't know her multiplication tables very well. According to Earth Alliance standards, Helen's intellectual resources are classified as disposable. Her brain, like Cheryl's, is purely decorative. If Nick is ever in this hospital again, let him find Sam. He will take care of him. Umlis asks them to distance themselves from the others and go into the corridor. They need to determine where to store medicines and medical instruments in case of an emergency. Umlis is not planning to rob the hospital. He is simply preparing for unforeseen circumstances. Nick needs to take care of something, so he's heading the other way. They will quickly look around and leave. Someone is running down the corridor. This girl accidentally runs into Nick. Sally was told not to run down the hallway. If she trips, it will be a disaster. Sam's mom and aunt asked him to check on Helen. He still needed to look over some paperwork, so he decided to eat here. He is looking for a way to operate on Sally. There is hardly any progress, at least almost none. If Sam could find a doctor who stitched like a sewing machine, maybe there would be a way. The problem was, there was no way to find one. Renee made Nick ramen. She even added an egg and chopped green onions. As expected, she has common sense. Nick knows she streams games. She wants him to join her on the stream. Nick doesn't mind. He'll show them who's the emperor of the pentakills here. But Renee means the stream, not the game. She asks Nick to teach her a self-defense lesson. She knows he doesn't show his face on camera, so she prepared this. Her assistants will be Annie and Sam. If the views take off, Renee will give them a small percentage of the ad revenue. Nick sees no reason to refuse. Annie, Renee, and Sam come to the gym where he is training the interns. Nick asks if he can take the hall for a couple of hours. His friends want to make a video. They called it self-defense techniques for when your girlfriend is taken hostage by a robber. People will watch anything as long as it's funny. Today, they will talk about self-defense. Sam pretends to be a robber. Annie calls the robot man for help. Their acting is so bad that it looks like they are reading passages from a Korean literature textbook. Robot man attacks a robber. Sam falls. Annie thanks the robot man. For some reason, Nick hits her too. He's going to do the same to Renee. This is better than the old story. Annie is not in pain at all, but Sam is in pain all over. Renee's video was uploaded after editing, and gradually her videos began to gain popularity. Cheryl doesn't like that Nick brought lunch for Helen. She said she wanted to try his cooking. Next to Helen is the girl who recently ran into Nick. She's a fan of hers. Her father is the head of the surgical department, and she also knows Sam. Sally is also a fan of Cheryl. She loves them both and dreams of acting in movies and dramas like them. She wants to go to the audition, but her dad is categorically against it. He wants Sally to study. She's probably a bad student, just like Helen. In fact, she is the best in the class. Stop saying all kids are like Helen, but actually Cheryl was the same way. Sally wants to ask you something. She's curious about what the stuntmen from A Sunny Day in Blue Sky look like. They probably look like assassins, or like a solid mountain of muscles, or maybe they are bald like Shaolin monks. They rather look like him. This guy doesn't seem cool. He is the stunt coordinator. Just don't tell anyone, and no posts on social media. Helen was discharged from the hospital. She is besieged by journalists. She just got discharged, no need to pressure her. The manager, of course, said that he hired a first-class bodyguard, but she is simply something else. She is such a fragile girl, but she handled the crowd of journalists very well. After training with Nick, this is a piece of cake for Lynn. They go straight to the after-party. For some reason, a girl came here with a cameo role. Helen probably wants to go to the hospital again. Blue Sky has officially wrapped filming, and John Harper thanks everyone for their hard work. Special thanks to Nick Stone for his tremendous help. What Helen went through can be thought of as a blessing for future success. Now only good things await them ahead. But the joy did not last long. To avoid accidents involving explosions, John rented an enclosed space. He invites Nick to work together on the next drama. He's probably a great actor, but first we need to see how he looks on camera. Today is such a beautiful day. Some sound is heard. Lynn will take Cheryl and Helen to safety. They want to stay with Nick. It was the sound of a car crashing, presumably an accident. A truck crashed there. The driver lost consciousness and part of the car frame pierced his body. They don't have the necessary equipment to extract it. It's better to wait for an ambulance. His condition is stable enough that he can hold out until he gets to the hospital. It is extremely dangerous to pull out the victim. We must wait for the medics. Sam is a doctor. He wants to take a look. Nick recognizes him. They will postpone the introduction until later. First, Sam will examine the victim. If you pull it out, it will only get worse. There are spills of something everywhere here. VTX-13 detected. According to available data, a bomb made by combining VTX-13 with secondary material NG3 will be invented in about a year. It turns out that now people don't know that this will become a bomb, and they transport these substances without suspecting how dangerous they are. For some reason, something like this always happens around Nick. NG13 detected. 2 substances are located nearby. Nick asks what the scale of the disaster would be if everything here blew up. The entire area will be turned into ruins, and there will be at least several hundred victims. If the explosion spreads to nearby buildings, the death toll will rise to 3,000. Found the phone number of the company where the substances were produced. Information about the company White Grace is included in previously collected data. The VTX-13 isn't designed for anything like that. It's a component of their cosmetics. Some psycho says their cosmetics are explosive. Mixing these two substances does indeed cause an explosion, and their company should have taken precautions. Nick asks what they mix it with when making cosmetics. The manager thinks he's trying to find out the formula. Their employees will go to the scene of the incident right now to check everything. The fact that a cosmetic component is explosive is truly unbelievable. The cargo in this vehicle contains hazardous chemicals. Nick doesn't work for this company. He was at a restaurant nearby. It doesn't matter now. Sam is a doctor. We need to carefully pull the victim out. Discovered a cracked canister. They need to move away from the car. If they are careless, everything here will explode. There are explosive substances there. The emergency services worker orders everyone to evacuate and cordon off the area. But this is an ingredient for cosmetics. My wife constantly buys this brand. These ingredients are used for skin regeneration. Now is not the time for jokes. It seems like no one believes Nick. Lynn called Norman. He understood the situation and will now contact everyone he knows. In return, let Nick be gentler with him at the next training session.